Updates from Luigi Mangione. Did Russia shoot a passenger plane? Your IG post crop give me headaches. Yeah, I know. I don't really care. Influencing us on Amber Heard? Yes. Ban court with the people's defender later. The people's lawyer later. Get in now. Does Russia hate Azerbaijan now? No, I don't think it's I mean, if nobody shoots passenger planes deliberately, chat. They probably fucking shot him mistakenly. It's still unacceptable. I'm just saying that, like, they have a history with that sort of thing. He said last night that he was leaving early. Who was leaving early? Thinking about doing something evil today. Bro, he's always thinking about that. That's not new. Okay. Trazodone was causing me hair loss, so I stopped it. Okay, guys. I'm giving my dog drugs for 7 days that the vet gave me. Okay. You taking similar drugs and it fucking up your life is completely irrelevant to this. Okay. I'm sorry. Please stop trying to fucking do backseat veterinarian shit. Okay. Oh my Lord. It's so wild. It's for 7 days, chat. Calm down. Okay. Every single person wants to tell me about how they took the drugs that I'm giving my dog and speculating on what the drugs are that I'm giving my dog. I don't even know if those are the drugs. I know one of them is gabapentin. I just know that one. But like, I don't need to hear about how these drugs have fucked your lives up, okay? And how it's gonna fuck Kaya's life up as well. The only thing that I wanted to tell you, as I told you already, is that it's not working. Like, she's sleeping right now, which is good, but she runs around a little too much. My wife left me after taking trazodone. Yeah. The hardest part about this recovery process is keeping Kaya still, because she has a very cat-like quality to her. Okay. As you guys know, she doesn't want to stay in place. She loves running. She loves play fighting. And basically all of those things are a factor here. And I don't know what to do necessarily, but it's fine. At least she hasn't really been like licking the wound at all. So that's good. That's actually really good, honestly. Do not call that goddess a cat. I mean, she does have cat-like qualities. Like, what do you mean? There's nothing wrong with that. My wife's a vet tech, so please listen to what I have to say above all others. Do what your vet tells you. Yeah, exactly. I'm going to keep doing what the vet has told me and not sick fans delight.
You know how you instantly make people think Hassan's takes are bad? Watch.
Lines. Okay, I'm gonna read this out. Luigi Mangione oddly
I'm
wears
joking,
matching outfit with his lawyer in New York City court hearing.
I'm
to his
joking.
sick fans. My cats were running too much when they got spayed too. Yeah, it is so sad, but you may need to do crate or pen recovery. Yeah, I'm already doing pen recovery. This is it. Okay, I'm in a goddamn zoo over here, as you guys know. I'm in a freaking zoo over here, and she's in the zoo with me. She's already in the pen. This is the pen. My cat's dog's brother got addicted to Molly and murked a CEO. That's crazy. Okay, but if you find your baby girl, what? Dude, okay, you need to stop. China's building a dam that will generate electricity for 300 million people for $137 billion. That sounds insane. Just approved it another project of unfathomable scale, a mega dam that will generate 3 times more power than the Three Gorges, enough to meet the annual needs of over 300 million people, the equivalent of the entire U.S. population. The project will cost an insane 1 trillion yuan, 137 billion USD, to build, and will be located in the Yarlung Songpo River in Tibet Autonomous Region, which carves out the deepest canyon on Earth. What the frick? Just to highlight how insane this place is, the canyon reaches a depth of 6 kilometers at its deepest point. For comparison, the deepest point of the Grand Canyon, Arizona, is 1,800, and so it's like almost 2 kilometers at its deepest point. Grand Canyon is. This one is 6 kilometers at its deepest point. For people who laughably reply that China can't do engineering right, let me remind you that they literally have 2,200 plus year old hydro project in Sichuan province called the Dushangyang, which is still active, which is still in activity today. China builds a very long term. You know what it's like when you're farting up in those planes? This is karma. Yeah, honestly, there is ventilation. There's proper ventilation. This made Mike from PA mad because we'll never have that. Yeah, I know we'll never have that. Here's a Emma Thirst Socialism fan cam as well. Let's take a look. Take off the pants? What do you mean?
a beard.
I mean, if you want.
Santa baby, I must admit that you were a dear last year. But December is here, Santa baby, so hurry down the chimney tonight.
It's officially time for socialism. The way it's going to work out is we have submissions on a Google Doc that you guys have already sent us. In that submission list, you also have given reasons as to why you want these items on your wish list. Now, I did a couple off stream as well after the stream was over, and I'll probably go through a little bit more on the socialismus list as well. But goddamn, dude, last year, I can't remember what it was like last year, but like I don't remember last year being like every single person being like, oh yeah, I would like $1,000, please. people really amplified their demands this year, it seems. But yo, buy me a house unless it's or it's not real socialism. Yeah, as you guys know, I'm Mr. Fake Socialism. Also, Lolo and I are working on an IRL stream, potentially at Skid Row with one of the groups that works there. So, but it'll be like pre-vetted and stuff. We won't be like annoying nuisances to people, and we'll do it in the most ethical way possible. So that's something that we're also working on as well simultaneously. So we'll probably be doing something like that. Most likely doing something like that on the weekend. So there's that as well for those of you who are wondering. But Luigi's stay in Altoona prison plot thickens. Someone interviewed a former inmate that was here. Yeah, I know. I'm going to cover that. Hold on. Do you want me to send an update on the Panini Press and the first Panini? You already got it? I was so sad I missed a Google Doc sign up. Did you go see Nosferatu? No. I put a $300 Lego set because I'm autistic too and thought you were a gajillionaire. Stop the baldness, stolen valor. What are you talking about? Are you doing the lust or some chat are you just doing the lust or some chat as well? I'm not going to do it right now. And I might revamp it later down the line. We'll see. Oh yeah, Tyler Hitler Vera also is going back with our boy Vince Vintage on Twitter. His Christmas is ruined, it seems. But we'll get started there. Before I give you the Luigi Mangione updates. So he came in and was like, my response to some valid criticism I've received that finally isn't just someone calling me Hitler, which is really funny. I like that he knows that I call him Tyler Hitler Vera, and I like that is stuck, okay? Because he is, and I have no issues calling him that because that's his output. Just so everybody understands, that's just his output, okay? YouTuber Vince Vintage spent the last 4 months going through roughly 2 years worth of my videos and produced a 49-minute video attempting to paint me as an evil supervillain. I think he didn't go hard enough, for the record. I think Vince Vintage did a very normal, I already blasted off, chatter. Here you go. By the way, let the people know that I'm live and alive. But I think Vince Vintage in his video, which we covered on the broadcast, I watched it when it first came out. I think he did a pretty decent job with his coverage. And I think it was fair. And I don't even think that he attacked Tyler on the virtues of being racist, even though there is obviously plenty of evidence to suggest that he might be. But he simply left that up to the viewer, right? Like, and I think that's a solid way to cover this, because otherwise people immediately go, oh, you're biased. You're biased. You're biased. You're a libtard. You're biased. Like, he took a more neutral tone and was like, look, I'm not going to call him a racist. I'm just going to show you some facts about what I've seen that it has rubbed me the wrong way. You know, why'd you have to cook my boss Todic like this? Oh, dude, this goes so hard. I have his finals mouse, by the way. I don't know if I have this one specifically, but I have one of his finals mouses that he sent me, and it's fire. It's so sick. I said, did you even watch Dune Lamau? He knew his fans wouldn't admit to the racism, so it was pointless. Brilliant on Vince's part. Yeah. So anyway, Vince, I think, did a pretty solid job of just like tackling the subject matter by looking at some of the things that Tyler Oliveira does that rub everyone the wrong way, even if you are a racist. Maybe you're a racist, but you want to have objective racism. You know what I mean? That's the beauty of tackling an issue like this from the angle of this guy's just lying. Why is it good to cover it like that? Because even racists will look at that and go, well, I don't want to be misguided. Even a racist person that watches a Tyler Oliveira video is like, well, I don't want to leave this video thinking certain things are not true. I want to make sure that my racism is 100% unfiltered and truthful. Anyway, for instance, a news clip from West Oakland, Pittsburgh made it in our video about Oakland, a New York City headline about a shooting in its final cut on a video about New Orleans, and a news clip of a troubled teen in Miami that made it into a video about Memphis. To whoever this may surprise, I have a small team that helps me edit these videos. He's just a small content creator with like 7 gorillion views, by the way. You know? He's just a small guy. He's just a little guy. You don't understand. I have an editor dedicated to placing B-roll on top of our videos to add visual aid to show examples of various things we discuss in the videos. The problem is I met him at one of the rallies that I was at, a Klan rally, which is why him and I aligned on our politics pretty aggressively. And that's the reason why anytime I talk about how black people are inherently violent, anytime I cover stories about how black people are inherently violent, lo and behold, he just finds black people being violent, but from a different place. Okay, my bad. Anyway, I like that he just turned around and was like, it's my editor's fault, not me. While it's not difficult at all to find a shot carjacking, shooting, or robbery in Memphis, for example, Vince points out a few examples of just outright incorrect B-roll placements that don't match the city in question. A handful of inaccurate B-roll shots don't invalidate any of the conversations we have, the statistics we show, or the point of a given video, but it is 100% on us that these made it to the finished product. Ultimately, everything we do is under microscopic examination, and we will most likely make mistakes like this in the future. We will be more vigilant to do our best to avoid them. He's like, I'm gonna get so much better at doing racial agitprop. Trust. This is all a work in progress, and we will continue to learn from our mistakes. Thank you for all those who offer constructive feedback, and we will do our best to meet your expectations. I appreciate all of your support. He responded, Vince responded with, are you also going to blame your editors for why you baited someone with a PS5 to break into your car? And then he turned around and I think to that said, this is like blaming a rape victim for what they were wearing, which is really interesting because I think most people in Tyler Oliveira's audience would blame a rape victim for what they're wearing. And that's what's really interesting about this process. He said, this is the equivalent of blaming a woman for getting raped after she wore a dress that was too short outside. You imply criminals just can't help themselves as to break into the car the moment they see someone else's property. The entire point of the car bait was to see if someone would break in. This isn't some secret. I don't even understand your point contention here. Also, it's a TV in the car, not a PS5. So what's really interesting about this is like back in the day when Joey Salads did this, you know, mega car in the hood gone wrong. Like when he set up these fucking quote unquote pranks, he even considered them to be pranks, right? Like he did them under the guise of pranks, not objective news journalism. And Tyler, on the other hand, is claiming that he's doing objective news journalism, and this is a random car that was just like randomly standing there. Turns out it was his car. Like that's ridiculous. You're lying. You're trying to. You're not even covering up that you're lying. You're just openly fucking lying, and it's wild. But yeah, to which Vince responded with, hey, while I've got you here, why don't you answer these questions too? Why did you hide the fact that you shopped at a KKK memorabilia store that sells N-word repellent and passed it off as an antique store? Why did you hide the fact that you gave the most racist man in America a welcome gift you bought from the KKK memorabilia store that said N-word repellent? Why did you fabricate the story of Jamaica bank truck robbery? Why did you fabricate the story of a Christian seafood restaurant selling sex for $15 and being a brothel? Why did you pretend to be an asylum seeker to get processed by Border Patrol? Why did you pretend to be alone in the fear of your life in Jamaica? But in reality, his tour guide was right next to him. Your tour guide was right next to him. Okay, this is grammatically a little bit wonky, but why did you hide the fact that the 9/11 truther expert you brought on believed that Israel blew up the World Trade Center? Why did you hide the fact that you brought on known fraudster Darren Stalkup as your Oakland homeless expert? Little Bear, thank you for the raid. Hope you had a good stream. So I think, critical support, or not even critical, full support to Vince here on his endeavor. But why does Tyler follow us on? Because me and Boy were some of the early accounts that actually recognized that he was doing Mr. Beastified, unlimited right-wing agitative propaganda, and we had an issue with that. We took issue with that, and that was very frustrating. And I think he did not know how to react to that, and he just started saying all of these woke libtards are angry at me because I do real journalism and they don't. So, you know, cool stuff there. Yeah, he Mr. Beastified racism, which is wild. Okay. Anyway, so let's get to, yeah, we'll talk about Elon and MAGA as well. Obviously, Elon has of course defended H1B visas, and this is a big problem. This is a massive problem for a lot of the racists. They're turning on Vivek as well. They're turning on everybody. Like the MAGA populists, the MAGA populists are getting very mad because they're like, no, you're supposed to not get immigrants to. You're supposed to not rely on immigrants on these companies. And you know, I see the look. I'll dive into it a little bit because there is a lot to talk about in this regard. But first, I want to start off with Luigi Mangione. This guy actually interviewed someone who was in the Altoona, Pennsylvania prison that talked about grooming Luigi Mangione, and grooming in the you know, normal sense of the word, not like the grooming that I'm not talking about like Minecraft streamer style grooming. I'm talking like grooming his hair and whatnot in prison. So let's get started there.
Suddenly, I'm reporting the story in real time. So I met a source who did time at the same Pennsylvania prison as Luigi, and now I think I got the story right the first time. A few days ago, someone jumped in my comments and said, I did time at SCI Huntington. It's a hardcore jail with a lot of lifers. You definitely need money and clout to get a legit cut. I said, wait, what? You were locked up at the...
Lolo posted about these TikToks and said they're dumb, haha. I mean, he did get not a fade necessarily, but he did get like a haircut, right? I mean, is that not, didn't they fix him up a little bit? Didn't they shape him up a little bit? Like, I'm not talking about like, you know, how these guys are lifers or it's a scary prison or whatever the fuck. Every prison is scary in the United States of America. But I suspect that even though he was mostly in solitary, or not even solitary confinement, but like the fact that he was, the fact that he got like, you know, his shit lined up a little bit, his eyebrows fixed up, means that like someone definitely did that for him.
Anything, drugs, phone, suggested maybe it was about Luigi's lawyer. Ryan said, the lawyer doesn't do that. They can only bring you clothes, but you can request a cut. So I started talking more and more to this man in the comments and then in DM. His name is Ryan. He asked me to withhold his last name for privacy, but he sent me a picture of his prison ID, his driver's license, and an article about the crime that sent him to prison. He explained the politics of that particular prison and said that that haircut was 100% a sign of respect. I 100% agree it was respect. I didn't get a decent cut for 10 years because I was broke and a nobody. Like I said, the lifers cut hair and they do everyone in the jail, so they rush you through. They cut all day. So nice cuts that take time are reserved for important people. Also, their time. So when they do a cut like this, the guard has to be on board for it. So the barber inmate had to leverage his weight to do it. So that means some inmate who cuts hair in that prison said, I like that kid. I respect him. I'm going to make sure that he looks good when he goes to court. There was also at least one guard who said, go ahead, make it happen, but do it quick. Something like that. Or some level of guard complicity. And where would that come from? Respect. How much does it cost for a haircut in Huntington? Ryan said, depends on the barber, but at Huntington, the currency is ice cream tickets. Ice cream tickets you use to buy soda and ice cream at Yard, but you can use them to buy anything. Drugs, phone.
This is wrong. My husband was a barber at many PA prisons. This is all bullshit. Prison and county jail aren't the same thing. You don't go to prison until after you're convicted. Source close to Luigi Mangione told the Daily Mail he got really choked up when he first saw the support he's receiving, and it gives him reassurance he will be okay. It also revealed that Luigi is sharing his commissary money with his fellow inmates. I don't know. It's TikTok. So I don't know. I'm inclined to immediately not believe it. I have this attitude that I have this blanket attitude that everything you see on TikTok is wrong. Okay. There are barbers, like actual people who have the machines that can cut your hair, but that's by appointment only, and it's not every week. So if you need to get a haircut, there are people who can do it with a comb and a razor. Jeff's take on all these videos is that it didn't mean anything beyond the barber liked him and gave him a free cut before he was about to be on TV, and that's not it meant anything about a message of the guards that he was protected. Oh, Ken also has an update on post Luigi, the extremist threat is you. Read the NYPD's Luigi Mangione report the media wouldn't publish in full. Ken Leakenstein, of course, has infiltrated and intercepted this. Is TikTok Bature is an esteemed and respected journalist? Yeah, but
whatever. But it's what you would also pay a barber. Like, the barber can't deny to do your head, but they will just do a shit job without money or respect. I'm picturing the barber as a black man, and Ryan said that is most likely. 99% of the barbers in prison are black, he said.
Okay, a lot of this is just like, this guy wasn't there, okay? This guy was not there. The guy he's talking to was not there while this was happening. He's out of prison. So he's just talking about his own personal experiences and therefore speculating, and we're speculating on top of someone else who is speculating. So maybe we'll one day find out what the truth is. But something that we know to be true is that Luigi Mangione looked good. Luigi Mangione did get a shape up on his eyebrows and also got a shape up on his hair a little bit. Okay, he didn't get a fade, but he did get a shape up. This is true. Someone must have done it to him. Could have been the prison barber. But I feel like if that was more official, there would be more information on that. Or it could be someone in prison. But even then, we don't know because the official information that we've gotten so far is that Luigi Mangione was not allowed to be around other inmates. But it seems like someone did shape his shit up. Shrouded in white rich man privilege. No one cares. Shrouded in white rich man privilege. Oh, shut up. Shut up. Shut up. Shut up. Shut up. Let people have things, okay? Let people have things. Don't do this annoying little like hollow identity politics thing at a moment where people are just like, yeah, I'm going to defend this guy. Okay, stop. What do you think of people saying Al Jilani is a CIA agent? I mean, he is Al Qaeda, so do with that information what you will. All right, let's get started. Severe weather coast to coast threatens return for holiday travelers.
This morning, a white or wet Christmas throughout the country means millions may be dealing with a travel mess on their way home from the holidays. Millions across the South are facing severe storms, including flash flooding with as much as 4 inches of rain. And police in Sherman, Texas, with the grim task of searching for a person swept away in floodwaters. 1 body was recovered, while 4 others in the car were rescued.
The only thing that I can communicate to the public or anybody who's wanting to do more is simply pray for a quick and successful recovery.
The West Coast facing an unrelenting atmospheric river storm with powerful winds, heavy rain, and snow. In California, officials are assessing the damage after part of the Santa Cruz Pier collapsed under high surf. 3 people were plunged into the water, and authorities say a man at a nearby beach died after being trapped under debris by a wave. That wharf now closed indefinitely.
That's crazy.
Meanwhile, in the sky, travelers facing
Meanwhile, it's 64 degrees and sunny in Los Angeles, dude, where it's like 64 degrees and sunny out here. Like maybe the last 2 days it was like a little gray, but that's it.
Thousands of travel delays after chaotic start to the busy holiday travel rush with a nationwide ground stop for American Airlines.
American Airlines.
It comes amid a series of scares on airlines and in airports over the holiday. Overnight in Phoenix, police responding to reports of gunfire at Sky Harbor Airport, creating for some momentary chaos.
Okay, but you don't have to gloat. Honestly, I'm not even gloating. Like for me, the weather being this nice in the midst of Christmas season is kind of lame. This is the one time out of the year where I kind of wish I was like at least seeing a little bit of snow. And yeah, no, it absolutely is coming from a place of weather privilege, I guess. Alaska here, it's not snowing, it's bullshit. Check your weather privilege, white man. I know.
Police say the incident happened between a group that knows each other. 4 of them were injured, 2 others detained. And in Hawaii, an investigation is underway after a body was found in the wheel well of a plane after landing in Maui from Chicago.
What the fuck?
In a statement, United Airlines saying in part, quote, "The wheel well was only accessible from outside the aircraft," adding it is not clear how or when the person accessed the wheel well.
Now, we have been talking about what is expected to be record-breaking holiday travel. If you are one of those travelers still taking to the skies or the roads, in terms of the airports, we expect it, of course, to be busy today, but not as busy as tomorrow or Monday is expected to be, according to TSA. And if you are taking to the roads, keep in mind, we enjoyed 2 days of minimal traffic, but AAA does say they expect that to creep back up starting today. So if you're hitting the roads, Laura, maybe pack a nice playlist so you can have your patience and enjoy nice music on the way. Laura?
That never hurts.
That's not pressurized, so at cruising altitude you can't breathe. Yeah, no, that has happened. I know. I remember watching one of those like weird TikTok like Zach B videos or whatever, where two people actually climb into the wheelbase or whatever, and then when the wheels pull in, I think one guy actually survived it. Like one guy literally survived it. I don't know how. But the other guy died, which is kind of wild. What's up? Oh, you want the phone? Here.
Marissa, thank you. Appreciate it.
Let's check in with Dylan right now. She is in for Al. Hope you had a nice Christmas, by the way, with
Zach
all the boys
D
in your...
Films. Yeah, that's the one.
It was busy.
Trust,
I've got a lot to clean up right
for
now.
folks today?
If you are traveling, it looks fine up and down the East Coast, weather-wise at least. It's a little bit chilly, but not as cold as it has been. It's really down through Texas into eastern Oklahoma, down through Arkansas and Louisiana, and also out west. We have another storm system making its way onshore. That means rain and mountain snow. Very difficult getting through the mountain passes. We could see some delays because of the heavier rain in Seattle, also in the Portland too. Dallas and Houston, especially later on today when those storms really get going, we could see some of those delays at the airports. And again, the roads through the mountain passes, some of the snowier spots will be slick going and also slow going down south where some of that rain could be a little heavy at times. So it's this cold front that's moving eastward across eastern Texas, down through Louisiana, up across Arkansas. So as we go into this afternoon and evening, we'll start to see the heavier rain and the thunderstorms. There's also some morning fog in the Midwest that could create some slowdowns and some delays at the airports early this morning. But then as we go into tomorrow,
I do weather coverage, yes. But anyway, speaking of flights and plane travel, we're obviously going to be talking about the flight that was supposed to land in Grozny, I believe, that was shot and had to do an emergency landing in Kazakhstan. And the early indications are that Russia's air defenses potentially shot the commercial airliner.
It's Christmas morning and a passenger plane has crashed outside the city of Aktau in Kazakhstan. A woman is pulled from the wreckage, alive. Another man limps away, one of his shoes in his hand.
It's pretty wild because like half of the plane actually, like half of the people survived. Half of the people survived, which is insane. And a lot of people were commending the pilots who actually didn't end up surviving. But the speculation is that that they were shot by Russian anti-aircraft defenses, and then they were able to wildly, change altitude over and over again, and then inevitably crash land in Kazakhstan. And because of that, because of the heroism demonstrated by and the expertise demonstrated by the pilots, they were able to literally save half of the people on the plane.
In the background, the burning wreckage of the rest of the aircraft. Emergency services said they were able to put out the blaze quickly, but 38 of the 67 people on board were killed. This was an Azerbaijani plane flying to Russia that crashed in Kazakhstan. Authorities in all three nations are now investigating. But speculation is rising, with several reports suggesting the aircraft was shot down. Azerbaijan Airlines flight was traveling from the country's capital, Baku, to Grozny in Chechnya, which is part of the Russian Federation. But it was diverted. The Azerbaijani president had said weather forced it to change course, while Russia's Civil Aviation Authority said the plane had hit a flock of birds. The aircraft traveled east over the Caspian Sea and crashed about 2 miles outside of Aktau.
Yeah, I saw these videos. I saw the videos of like from inside the plane and people just like filming themselves as the plane is just like going up and down.
Mobile phone footage showed the moments inside the plane before it crashed, another key piece of video evidence. Today, 4 sources in Azerbaijan with knowledge of the investigation told the Reuters news agency that Russia was at fault. Military bloggers and some aviation experts have been citing marks on the aircraft indicating...
You checked on Cutie today? Guys, you're insane. Okay? Yeah. Ultimately, this has nothing to do with like normal commercial air travel. What the fuck are you talking about? Like, this plane didn't nowhere have holes materialize in them. It's very likely anti-aircraft weapons. And even then, the very fact that half of the passengers survived is yet another fucking modern marvel. And further proof that experienced pilots are incredible at their fucking jobs. Like, what are we talking about? This is straight up a miracle. You got a plane, a commercial fucking airliner that got shot with anti-air defense weapons potentially, and yet still half of the people survived it. That is insane.
Damage from anti-aircraft missiles. Ukrainian drones had reportedly been operating around Grozny, and Russia's air defense system, in shooting down those drones, could have taken down the plane too. But President Putin's spokesman said it would be wrong to put forward any theories before investigators make their verdict.
Why would they shoot it though? High alert because of drones. I mean, this has happened before. Here's the video from inside the plane, by the way. Moments before the crash landing. Do we know what they're saying? Yeah, he's praying. And he survived actually, I think. Yeah, it's wild, dude. It's fucking insane. Yeah, he's saying the Shahada because he thinks he's going to die, and he survived, by the way. It's the Azeri language is a Turkic language as well. So like the person speaking over the person that's like, I think she's speaking over the intercoms is literally speaking in like Azeri, and I can kind of pick up on what she's saying. I think she's saying like I think she's saying something along the lines of like, stay calm and follow protocol and everything will be fine, and that keep your seatbelts fastened. Kemerini bağlansın is a seatbelt. Yeah, she says it's dangerous to stand in the cabin. This is wild that this is like after the crash. Wait, let me see if there's TOS here. Okay, yeah, no, there's no TOS. He just like, yeah. The man who filmed the video for his wife as the Azerbaijan Airlines fell from the sky miraculously survived filmed another video showing the apparent shrapnel damage. It is now suspected the plane crashed after being hit by Russian air defenses. Subkhan Rakimov, the man who filmed the video, shared footage of the damage towards the rear of the plane. Reports say Russian air defenses hit the plane thinking it was a Ukrainian drone. Only 29 people survived, or more than 29 people survived, I think. But like, look at the back, a passenger jet-sized drone. Yeah, no, I think that they are on high alert because of the drone strikes. And I mean, this isn't like, obviously, you know, this is obviously not defending anything. I know that people have no capacity to understand when I talk about these things, but yeah, it seems that the pilots were able to save a lot of fucking lives, dude. It's crazy. What is this? Fight says sources Euronews. Breaking: Russian surface-to-air missile caused the Azerbaijan Airlines plane crash on Wednesday, according to Azerbaijani government sources from Euronews. Government sources have told Euronews that the damaged aircraft was not allowed to land at any Russian airports despite the pilot's request for an emergency landing, and it was ordered to fly across the Caspian Sea towards Aktau in Kazakhstan. Yeah, I don't know what the fuck they were thinking. Pilots did die, yes. How the fuck did it get hit with a SAM and not immediately go down? I don't think it was a surface-to-air missile. I don't think it was a surface-to-air missile. I think that if it was, it would have been over. If it was a surface-to-air missile, the plane would have, it would have exploded in the air. It's most likely anti-aircraft, like some kind of anti-aircraft weapon, but I don't think it was it was surface-to-air missile. They work in a way people misunderstand. They track targets and explode, shooting out shrapnel with shreds planes and drones. They don't just rip things apart. I haven't seen any videos videos from outside the plane, like where the pilots are trying to control it. He got out and is instantly filming close up. 8 rounds off and explode in the air near their target, as seen by the shrapnel in the hole here. It's not a missile itself penetrating the plane. You're all saying flak, but that's not my kind of autism, so I don't know what that means. Anyway, we'll get more information from official sources in a little bit. But I just wanted to give you an update. I don't know what happened, okay? But the highest likelihood scenario is that Russia most likely shot it.
As Azerbaijan observes a national day of mourning, the flowers and tears will mount, as will the questions and recriminations for a crash currently without an official cause.
We do begin this hour overseas, where 38 people aboard an Azerbaijan Airlines flight were killed yesterday. The plane was traveling from Baku, the capital of Azerbaijan, to Grozny, Russia, when the pilots tried to make an emergency landing and crashed in Kazakhstan. Miraculously, 29 people survived that. Now there are questions about why the plane was diverted and whether Russian air defenses are to blame. CBS News foreign correspondent Chris Libsey has the latest.
Well, there are indeed new developments in the plane crash in Kazakhstan.
This is literally my worst nightmare right now as I'm about to fly back into the U.S., always sit in the back of the plane. Dude, what do you mean this is your worst nightmare? Do you think that a fucking anti-aircraft... Do you think that, like, anti-aircraft flak is going to target your plane? Well, like, what are you talking about? Are you going to be flying over Russian airspace, chatter? Are you flying over a war zone? Like, motherfuckers would be like, I'm flying from Ohio to Idaho, and I'm terrified. Like, guys, please, you know, this is not a common thing, okay? Air travel is unimaginably safe. The very fact that half of the people survived this crash landing due to the expertise of the pilots who did not survive themselves is further evidence of how safe commercial airline travel is in general. It's wild that you're like, oh, dude, I'm fucking flying over, you know, Idaho airspace. It's going to be really tricky.
As investigators now suspect Russian anti-aircraft.
We did have people shooting drones. No, that is also not the same. The likelihood that you will be able to shoot a plane with a regular small arms fire, the fact that you'll be able to shoot a plane out of the air is insanely unlikely, okay? What are you talking about? It's damn near impossible. Why the fuck are there anti-aircraft weapons then? If everyone could just like shoot planes directly out of the sky with small arms, with like a 9mm or an AR-15. What do you mean? A plane cruising at fucking altitude is very, very unlikely to actually get shot down with small arms gunfire. Okay, you would literally have to aim so far ahead and track it with perfect accuracy. Not only that, but also even then, the likelihood that a couple bullet holes, if you even were able to shoot the plane, is going to destroy the plane is highly unlikely. That's number one. The most likely thing that will happen if someone were to try to shoot at a plane thinking it's a fucking drone, that those bullets would land and accidentally hurt like a child or something. It's unreal how skilled those dudes were. There was a similar incident in the U.S. caused by mechanical failure. They also managed a crash landing that stayed about half when others tried to replicate that in a simulator. Literally no one could do it without a total crash. Unreal skill level. Yeah.
Defenses may have been involved. This theory emerged after radar data revealed missile activity in the area at the time of the crash. While Russia has yet to comment, aviation experts say this could point to a misfire. Authorities in Kazakhstan are working with Russian investigators, but tensions are rising over who will lead that inquiry. The Embraer 190 jet went down on Christmas Day just off the Caspian Sea in Kazakhstan. Rescuers described a chaotic scene as they pulled survivors from the wreckage, some of them missing their shoes. The jet split in half and flipped upside down and laid scattered across the ground with debris and casualties stretching for...
Max vertical range of 556 is 10,000 feet, so planes are definitely safe.
Hundreds of feet in this remote part of Central Asia. Meanwhile, search teams have recovered critical components of the aircraft, including the black boxes, which are expected to...
I missed the footage of the crash landing. Wait.
190 jet went down on Christmas Day just off the Caspian Sea in Kazakhstan. Rescuers described a chaotic scene as they pulled survivors from the wreckage, some of them missing their shoes.
That's insane that like people, fucking half of the people in this plane survived. That's crazy.
critical components of the aircraft, including the black boxes, which are expected to provide more answers in the coming days. Now, the model of jet, the ERJ-190, is made by a Brazilian company. JetBlue is the biggest American company that uses this model, but it had already said it was planning on retiring this model of jet next year.
Why are they even talking about that? Like, as though the fucking model of the jet has anything to do with this. Elint News, who is more knowledgeable on this stuff, says most likely surface-to-air missile from air defenses. The shrapnel markings holes on the fuselage are pretty consistent with air defense fragmentation. What did the Russians say? Russians said it was bird damage? Yeah, okay. Increasing speculation in Russian media that the Baku-Grozny Azerbaijan Airlines flight was shot down by Russian air defenses that mistook it for a Ukrainian drone. Footage of the damage to the fuselage. Yeah. Yeah, some real strong bird power over here. Birds at 90. Yeah, this is the markings of a beak of a bird that grew up near the Chernobyl exclusion zone, I think. That can fly up to 1,000 miles an hour. Up-down oscillating in the flight data indicates they were steering and or controlling altitude almost entirely by changing engine thrust, so spooling the engine higher on one side, the turn / increasing, decreasing thrust to climb or descend. Control in air is possible doing this, but landing is almost impossible because if you throttle back enough to land safely, the nose dips and you go down hard. Nowhere near close to that, Hassan. Yeah, I'm fucking being sarcastic, chatter. Obviously, it's not birds. Are you insane? Look at this. None of this looks like... A bird can't do any of this, dude. What are you talking about? First of all, even if a bird was... Like, birds sometimes accidentally hit planes. That happens. Okay, they get caught up in the motor or whatever. But like, they can't take down a plane. Okay, and also hitting the plane from the side would be impossible for a bird. I feel like that is the engine. Yes, not the motor. Whatever. The bird would not be able to. The bird would not be able to hit the plane from the side, regardless. You know, because the plane is flying much faster than a bird could. Why am I even entertaining this? God, it's so stupid. Let's just continue.
Back to you.
Video of that is just so disturbing and scary. Well, this is people gathering for a moment of silence honoring the victims today at the Baku airport where the plane first took off.
We start this hour with developing news on the plane crash in Kazakhstan. Reuters is now reporting that 4 sources in Azerbaijan say the aircraft was downed by Russian air defense systems. 38 people were killed when the Azerbaijan Airlines plane crashed in the city of Aktor. Earlier, all 4 of Moscow's airports were closed. They've now reopened, but no reason has been given.
We saw all this already.
It has heard calming passengers and urging them to wear their seatbelts. The Azerbaijan Airlines plane was carrying 67 people in all from Baku in Azerbaijan, flying along the western shore of the Caspian Sea to Grozny, which is in the Chechen area of southern Russia. Russian news agencies said the flight was rerouted due to fog and it came down on the opposite shore in Aktor in Kazakhstan. Let's go to Rob Harris, who's in the newsroom. And Rob, what's the latest then on these reports coming out of Russia that seem to suggest that it wasn't bad weather, it wasn't a malfunction or a bird strike, but it could have been a Russian air defense system that brought the plane down?
Yes, these claims casting doubt on one of those official allegations from Russia that there was indeed a bird strike. And if you see the images of the plane, there did appear to be signs of, from the face of it, bullets or indeed shrapnel that hit the plane. And we are now hearing from the sources in Azerbaijan talking to the Reuters news agency, believing that Russian air defences were responsible. They are trying to repel drones from Ukraine as the war does go on. And one of those sources saying that this preliminary investigation is pointing to the communication systems also being paralysed by electronic warfare systems on that approach into Grozny. Now, this source is very clear to say that no one is claiming it was done on purpose, but it does cast into doubt those claims from the Russian side. And we did see this plane that did
anti-Russian propaganda. I mean, it's no, that's ridiculous. It's not. You're being ridiculous. That is the most ridiculous thing to claim here. No, what the fuck are you saying? Look, we don't know what the official events are. Okay, But most of the verified information that's come out of this story so far indicates, especially when you look at the damage, like it's very likely that it was shot down by Russian anti-aircraft weapons. And part of the reason why the Russian anti-aircraft weapons were even on high alert is because of the consistent drone activity. I assume that is part of the reason why, but it's ridiculous that you think that this is like anti-Russian propaganda. No, it's very, very likely that, I mean, it's almost, I don't know, it's almost impossible that this would be anything other than Russian anti-aircraft weapons.
Veer off course for several hundred miles yesterday when it was heading from the Azerbaijani capital, Baku, to the Russian city of Grozny. Now, the initial thoughts from the Azerbaijani president was the fact weather might be to blame. Then Russia's aviation watchdog did talk about an emergency landing being attempted due to the bird strike. But then this steep descent was seen before the plane did crash to the ground. Now, it has been a day of official mourning today across Azerbaijan. National flags were lowered, signals sounded from ships and trains, and a moment of silence was observed nationwide. And beyond Azerbaijan as well, there are investigations taking place. One aviation security firm, Osprey Flight Solutions, said that they've actually issued more than 200 alerts regarding drone attacks and air defense systems in Russia during the war. But as for the official word from the Kremlin, they're still saying that the investigation is ongoing, that it should be.
I'm no Russophile, but how's that weapon damage? I'd imagine if something was shot, the plane would have exploded in the air. No, I don't. I also thought, I mean, there are different kinds of anti-aircraft weapons. Like there's missile systems that directly target the flying planes. And then there's like, it seems like there's the explosive shrapnel, like a shotgun blast as well. And this seems more consistent with the latter rather than the former, where it's just flak, like shrapnel that explodes near the plane.
Something that the special aviation authorities should be behind. There shouldn't be any hypothesis that this.
Even with larger surface-to-air missiles like Patriot aircrafts can survive without disintegrating. First images of damaged IL-22M appeared. It was able to land in Anapa, but the tail is heavily damaged. The plane wasn't that damaged, it seems. It was damaged enough to warrant an emergency landing, but it was denied and had to reroute far away, by which time it was too late. Yeah, it's interesting because even pro-Russian Telegram channels are reporting that this was most likely Russian anti-aircraft weapons. The air missiles are often proximity weapons, so they explode when sensors on board detect that they are close to the target, as it's very hard to hit a target directly. This is a different plane, by the way, that was shot with anti-aircraft weapons. But I'm using this as an example of what it looks like when you get hit with anti-aircraft weapons. And it doesn't mean that the entire plane is going to disintegrate. As a matter of fact, the reason why the plane broke off is because of the crash landing and not because of the explosive ordnance anyway.
Early stage. So that's certainly the message from the Kremlin. Indeed, Vladimir Putin speaking yesterday, saying that he'd sent the condolences and offered help with the investigation. But from Reuters sources, they are certainly saying that they do believe that Russian air defences were responsible for the downing of the plane, with 38 of 67 people on board killed. And we have heard from the survivors, some of them who actually were filming the scenes of the plane as they managed to miraculously escape.
Yes, and Rob, we've just in the past few moments already been speaking. The Kazakh vice premier has said today there is no official explanation as of yet as of what happened. But look, given Russia's situation with Ukraine, given the history itself, which it hasn't exactly been the most peaceful, stable place the past couple of decades, and that's where the flight was heading to, people are inevitably going to ask questions about this being something other than, as I said at the start there, and as you just reminded people, a bird strike or a malfunction of some description. People are going to perhaps zone in on those other possibilities as we are experiencing right now.
Yeah, and one expert I've been speaking to suggesting actually could be questions over the competence of those Russian air defences in terms of dealing with the situation. For many, it will bring back memories as well of Malaysian flight MH17 from 10 years ago. That was shot down over Ukraine. A reminder, of course, that this war has been going on for 10 years. A lot of focus, obviously, on the full-scale invasion for the last 2.5 years, but it shows the...
There's also additional attacks that Russia engaged on Ukraine on Christmas Day with a wave of airstrikes as well.
This morning, Ukraine's still reeling from a massive Christmas Day drone and missile attack by Russian forces. At least 6 people killed in strikes like this in Kharkiv, officials say. While in the capital, thousands of families spending Christmas seeking safety in the subway. It's scary to stay at home, so we came to the shelter, says this mom. Russia is once again targeting the energy grid, Ukraine says, leaving 500,000 people without power in the depths of winter. President Zelensky saying Putin deliberately chose Christmas for an attack, what could be more inhumane. And President Biden calling the attack outrageous, vowing to surge U.S. weapons to Ukrainian forces. But nearly 3 years into this grinding war, Ukraine is losing ground in the east and struggling to hold territory it captured inside Russia, where Putin's forces are supported by thousands of troops from North Korea. Also bracing to see if Donald Trump will try to end the war, and on what terms.
Gotta be a deal. Too many people being killed.
But on the front lines in Donetsk, Ukrainian soldiers celebrating Christmas with their comrades and saying they're not giving up. We can't be with our families right now, but we're united by our military.
Speaking of which, of course, Israel also engaged in its own killing spree as well, and is continuing right now in North Gaza. Trey Yinks, the Fox News foreign correspondent, was saying that the weapons being used in North Gaza as of a couple hours ago were so powerful that they could be heard. The strikes could be heard from Tel Aviv. On top of that, Israel also struck Sana'a and numerous other targets in Yemen as well.
Military family, he says. In his Christmas Day address in Rome, the Pope appealing for a ceasefire not just in Ukraine, but also in Gaza, where Israeli strikes continued over Christmas. And just a few hundred Christians remain in what was once a vibrant community, while Israeli hostage families marking a second Hanukkah without their loved ones.
Both Israel and Hamas are publicly accusing each other of making new last-minute demands, which are slowing down ceasefire negotiations. But there is a sense of urgency here, with President-elect Trump saying there will be, quote, hell to pay if there is not a deal in place by the time of his inauguration on January 20th.
The WHO chief was literally in the same airport that Israel bombed in Sana'a today. I haven't seen that.
Raf Sanchez there for us again this morning in Israel. Raf, thank you.
Hey, thanks. But yeah, here it is.
Israel has
Israeli
been carrying
airstrikes
out
are hitting Yemen's main international airport in Sana'a.
Strikes across Yemen, including on the international airport in the capital, Sana'a. The head of the World Health Organization, Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus, was at the airport about to board a flight when it...
That is crazy. Israeli strikes his international airport with WHO chief inside. At least 3 people were killed and nearly a dozen injured after Israeli airstrikes struck multiple targets controlled by the Houthi movement in Yemen. The international airport in the capital, Sana'a, which is, like, by the way, a crazy way to report that Israel struck the commercial airport, like the civilian commercial airport in Sana'a, as the Houthi movement controlled target in Yemen. Okay? It's like striking JFK and being like controlled by the Brandon regime. Israel struck numerous targets controlled by the Biden regime, and the targets are fucking, JFK airport. That's crazy. That's a crazy way to cover that. Anyway, Sana'a was hit with the head of the World Health Organization, Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus, was boarding a plane. Benjamin Netanyahu said the Israeli strikes would continue until our job is done.
Came under Israeli attack. He was not injured. The Israeli military says it has been targeting the Houthis, the rebel group backed by Iran. Houthi rebels say 3 people were killed in the strikes. Houthi fighters in Yemen have targeted Israel and ships in the Red Sea and Gulf of Aden in solidarity with...
Yeah. The wire broken. The attack is now taking place in broad daylight. 3 main goals. Sana'a airport shut down. Power plants in Sana'a destroyed. Hodeidah seaport shut down again. Not a normal attack. The opening of a campaign that may be prolonged. And the reason why they're doing that, I suspect, is because Yemen has been utilizing weapons that can actually pass through the Iron Dome and directly strike Tel Aviv, which they have deployed on Tel Aviv numerous times at this point. And that is the reason why they're trying to pummel Yemen into submission to stop them from continuing to to stop them from continuing to penetrate the Iron Dome.
Palestinians in Gaza. Meanwhile, in central Gaza, health officials say 5 journalists have been killed by an Israeli strike. The strike hit a marked broadcast van outside Al-Oda Hospital in the Nusayrat refugee camp.
Israel also has increased its Israel once again striking journalists directly. Another thing that they started doing is claiming that these guys are doing war propaganda when they kill them, which is unique. Anyone that covers Israel's atrocities are now considered to be doing pro-Hamas war propaganda, which means that they're killing journalists and directly saying that they're killing journalists, even lying and saying that, oh, these guys are actually a part of the Al-Qassam brigades or a part of the Palestinian Islamic Jihad movement or anything like that. In the past, they would just lie and say that these guys that they're killing, these journalists that they're killing, they are killing because, they would just lie and claim that these guys were like aligned with Palestinian Islamic Jihad or the Al-Qassam brigades or whatever. Now they're not even doing that. They're just openly saying we're killing them because of their journalism. Because their journalism happens to be, their journalism happens to make Israel look bad, which is an incredible admission, in my opinion. Like, that is wild. That is wild that they're openly stating that they are engaging in, a war crime. Like, they have always actively killed journalists, as I've covered time and time again. But in the past, they would at least lie about why they were killing the journalists, claiming without any real evidence whatsoever that these journalists were actually a part of, enemy combatant movements. Now they're just openly saying that they're doing it because of their journalism. And it's interesting. It's different than before. I think that the cruelty has escalated. Following the Israeli strikes on Yemen, Defense Minister Israel Katz says Israel will hunt down the leaders of the Houthis. We saw precise action by the Israeli Air Force hitting strategic Houthi targets in Yemen at the airport and at the port, Katz says in a video from the Israeli Air Force's underground command center at the military headquarters in Tel Aviv. As we said, whoever strikes Israel, we will strike them. We will also hunt down all the Houthi leaders, hit them as we have done elsewhere, he says. No one will be able to evade Israel's long arm.
One of the journalists had been expecting the birth of his child. The Israeli military said those killed were members of a terrorist cell. Well, let's speak to our news correspondent, Shaima Khalil, who is in Jerusalem for us. Hello to you, Shaima. Just take us through what we know about these strikes in Yemen.
We've seen very dramatic footage from inside Sana'a International Airport of people running in a panic with their luggage in their trolleys, some of them trying to leave the building through a gate, others running in different directions. We also saw one from outside the building showing smoke rising. And in the last hour or so, we've also been getting reports that commercial flights are still landing in Yemen airport despite reports of damage to the facility. We're getting reports and an image of an Airbus A320 of the Yemeni Airlines aircraft landing there. We heard from the head of the WHO, the World Health Organization, Tedros Ghebreyesus, who said that he was in the airport when the strike happened, that he was about to board a plane when the airport was struck, and that resulted in one of the air crew members being injured not very far from where his group were sitting. He said he was okay. We also had confirmation from the Israeli army, the IDF, who said that they struck targets used by the Iran-backed group to smuggle Iranian weapons into the region. We know that the airport in Sana'a was hit, but also other targets in the Red Sea port city of Hodeidah. The Israeli military targeted hit two power stations. It's
pretty wild. I mean, yeah, when you hit a civilian airport, you are directly putting civilians' lives at harm. This time it included someone from the World Health Organization, the leader, the chief of the World Health Organization, which is crazy.
Ports as well. This is the second Israeli strike in less than a week on Houthi targets in Yemen. as this month has seen a significant increase of Houthi launched missiles and drones on Israeli territory. One of them injured more than a dozen people when it landed in Tel Aviv on Saturday. The Houthis have vowed time and time again to continue these missile launches, to continue attacking Israeli territory until the end of the war in Gaza. And in the past few days, we've heard a more determined Israeli leadership, if you will. We've heard the Prime Minister and we've heard the Israeli Defense Minister saying that they're going to go after the Houthi targets in Yemen, but also the Houthi leadership the same way they went after Hamas and Hezbollah leadership as well.
Get ready for Israel accusing him of being part of the Houthis for being in Yemen. Yeah. I mean, they don't really give a shit. If they end up killing him, they'll say, well, shouldn't have been there. What is the purpose of the World Health Organization being in Sana'a? I mean, that is obviously it's I don't know how to explain this to you. Like, there is major health complications happening in Yemen. It's one of the poorest countries, bombed into oblivion. There was a fucking Saudi-backed genocide that occurred, America-backed Saudi-led genocide until not that long ago. It's a part of the fucking world. There is an ongoing humanitarian crisis in Yemen, as always. So, of course, the World Health Organization is going to go there. So, this is a article that just came out earlier today from the New York Times that I actually tweeted about as well. Part of the article is, I mean, this is New York Times engaging in what I call ass covering to make sure that they can hold on to whatever shred of credibility that they have. Okay? And they do this every now and then. Oftentimes, if they ever cover it at all, they are far too late to the game. The article itself featured some of the Plus 972 magazine reporting on Lavender, the AI targeting system, which they literally said had not been previously reported, even though it had been previously reported, and they know that it had been previously reported because they utilized the local call in 972 magazine reporting later in this article itself. In each strike, the order said officers had the authority to risk killing up to 20 civilians. The order, which has not been previously reported, had no precedent in Israeli military history. Mid-ranking officers had never been given so much leeway to attack so many targets, many of which had lower military significance at such high potential civilian cost. Except it had been previously reported months ago by Yuval Abraham and his reporting at 972 magazine, something that I covered out here as well. We're going to look at the full article in a brief moment, and the genocide apologia that they engage in within the article itself, while also simultaneously still, like I said, burying the lead a little bit. I said, this is insane. There are investigative reporters uncovering this horrors months ago. People like myself have also tried to show this to the broader Western audience. New York Times is just incredibly late to the story. Sometimes they never even get there. Truly upsetting. But yeah, this is the article. How Israel weakens civilian protections when bombing Hamas fighters. An investigation by the New York Times has found that Israel, in the weeks after Hamas' October 7 attack, severely undermined its system of safeguards that make it easier to strike Gaza and used flawed methods to find targets and assess the risk of civilians. Now, what's interesting about this is that even here, even in this article, like the ultimate goals of Israel, which are genocidal, and this is not just my assessment at this point, this is Amnesty International, okay? This is numerous NGOs, both Israeli NGOs and NGOs that work around the globe. Okay, Hassan, you stink fuck your race. I hope you kill yourself. Okay. This is like old school. This is some old school ass shit right here. Respect to this chatter for hitting me with some like super old school racism. Like old school as in like early 2000s era, you know, early 2000s era level of like schizo posting in here. Good shit. Merry Christmas to this chatter. Just know, even if you felt like you were alone on Christmas or in the aftermath of Christmas, you are nowhere near as sad and as pathetic as this person, who will most likely be banned site-wide for saying this. Yeah. I've seen this chatter on other people's channels too. Some vintage racism right after during the holiday season. Okay. But as I was saying, the article in and of itself is also still saying like, oh, well, this is a war that Israel's waging against Hamas, but it's actually having a hard time. Oh, he already lost the account. It already got fucking perma-site banned. Nice. I don't know why people write stuff like this, because obviously they're going to get perma banned. But in any case, doors open. Uh-oh. Murat! Go get the food. He's leaving. Oh, door's open. Murat will order food and then... Anyway. Every Christmas we break out the old Catholic ornaments. Can you fall races for bringing the old racism back? Yeah. Zana Saeed says, genocide manufacturing in denial is the editorial mandate at the New York Times. Palestinian civilians aren't collateral damage. They are the target in an explicit campaign of extermination that has also been recognized by every major human rights group and genocide scholar. New York Times dropped this article a day after 5 journalists were targeted and killed in an Israeli airstrike on their clearly marked press van. Loosens rules, though. And it's kind of crazy. This article not only is too little too late, but beyond the fact that it's too little too late, is still serving the purpose of making it seem as though Israel is simply just trying to combat Hamas and punish Hamas for October 7, for the crimes of October 7, when in fact, that's not the sole purpose. The real purpose of Israel's military campaign here is ethnic cleansing and ethnic displacement. That much is clear, and it's not just my assessment of the matter. Like I said, virtually every single human rights group has also come to that conclusion. A system of mass starvation and the death and destruction and complete destruction of the entirety of the civilian infrastructure, with the hopes of permanent annexation and mass relocation and repopulating parts of the Gaza Strip with Israeli settlers. Here are some of the main takeaways from the investigation. Raised threshold for civilian harm per preemptive strike. Expanded list of targets. Lifted caps on how many civilians could be endangered each day. Struck too fast to vet all targets properly. Often relied on outdated intelligence. Used artificial intelligence to help search targets. Often dropped large inaccurate bombs. Frequently used a crude risk assessment. Once again, this is not simply Israel going, oops, we actually changed it. We actually changed our targeting capabilities. This is a deliberate attempt to kill as many people while still shrouded under the auspices of international rules of conflict. Okay? Just letting you know. If they pivot to criticizing Israel's attacks as soon as Trump comes into office, they really will just be a Democrat platform. Do you guys understand what the problem is here? Do you understand like what my issue is with this coverage? Claiming that this is simply a mistake is not correct. Claiming that this is simply a mistake and not a deliberate campaign of ethnic cleansing, okay, is still manufacturing consent to make it seem as though Israel is just simply applying artificial intelligence in its targeting systems as a mistake that has caused a tremendous amount of accidental collateral damage, and not a system of mass starvation, mass displacement, with the overt purpose of engaging in ethnic cleansing. It serves the purpose of defending the higher-ups from additional legal scrutiny and manufacture consent at the behest of Israel, that they're simply trying but failing to create a security corridor. Okay? This is not a mistake. These are not simple mistakes and accidents. This is deliberate. It is manufactured chaos. A lot of people will point to like the World Central Kitchen and say the World Central Kitchen bombing, for example, and in order to defend Israel's actions, say, oh, it's just like people getting out of control. You know, people not listening to there's a failure of communication with the higher chain of command in terms of targeting. That's not the case. Okay? It is deliberate. It is a killing field deliberately created so that people can turn around and say, oh, there's just like mistakes along the line. Okay? These are not coincidences. These are not unlucky instances. This is deliberately created in a way so that you can kill as many people as possible. So yeah, it is kind of crazy that they just they took this long to even cover it. And even in their coverage, they're still offering protection to and offering credence to the arguments that claim plausible deniability. There's no way to look at this other than the New York Times deliberately trying to defend Israel still. Okay? Meanwhile, Haaretz had an incredibly damning article. Editorial board tore the original article apart. Yeah. Meanwhile, on the one hand, New York Times is still trying to desperately grab onto any sense of like credibility that they have by at least sometimes covering shit like this months months too late. But while they're doing that, on the other hand, the editorial board is just like running full-scale defense and full-scale propaganda at the behest of Israel, very deliberately and very directly. It's totally, utterly ridiculous. Anyway, there was a take from, Noah. Reading the New York Times is crazy making because they'll have a story detailing the genocide that some of the same reporters/editors denied months ago, and which others in the paper use the NYT editorial real estate to still deny. Yeah. Do they get paid or do they just love Israel? No, they don't get paid. There is no direct compensation for defending Israel. It doesn't work that way. It's just that Israel's goals of ethnic cleansing align with America's top-down State Department goals in the region, and therefore you get elevated if you play ball. And in many circumstances, as Noam Chomsky has correctly pointed out time and time again, you don't even know that you're deliberately doing this. You get to the point that you're in media, you get elevated to a point in media because you authentically and organically have these opinions. Okay? That's it. You don't need a formal conspiracy when interests align. Exactly. So you literally get paid. Yeah, but not paid in the sense that like someone wants to uncover the truth about Israel's actions, but then they get paid by some like Mossad agent or whatever, in the way that people try to create a grand conspiracy. It's not a grand conspiracy at all. There is a filter system. Okay? There is a filter system. If you are consistently creating adversarial investigative reporting, you are not going to get elevated to the highest ranks within the New York Times to begin with. That's it. And that's how you even on your best objective journalistic interests, even at best, when you're trying to engage in some kind of real journalism, you end up doing it like this. Anyway. From that Haaretz article you're referencing. Oh, here's the Chomsky interview
Professor
with the
Chomsky,
journalist.
could we start by listening to explain what the propaganda model, as you call it, is? For many people, the idea that propaganda is used by democratic rather than merely authoritarian governments will be a strange one.
Well, the term propaganda fell into disfavor around the Second World War, but in the 1920s and the 1930s, it was commonly used, and in fact advocated by leading intellectuals, by the founders of modern political science, by Wilsonian progressives, and of course by the public relations industry, as a necessary technique to overcome the danger of democracy. The institutional structure of the media is quite straightforward. We're talking about the United States.
I'm going to pee real quick.
The major, there are sectors, but the agenda-setting media, the ones that sort of set the framework for everyone else, like the New York Times and the Washington Post and so on, these are major corporations, parts of even bigger conglomerates. Like other corporate institutions, they have a product and a market. Their market is advertisers, that is, other businesses. Their product is relatively privileged audiences, more or less.
So they're selling audiences to
They're selling privileged audiences. These are big corporations selling privileged audiences to other corporations. Now the question is, what picture of the world would a rational person expect to come out of this structure? And then we draw some conclusions about what you'd expect, and then we check, and yes, that's the picture of the world that comes out.
And is this anything more than the idea that basically the press is relatively right-wing, with some exceptions, because it's owned by big business, which is a truism, is well known?
Well, I would call the press relatively liberal. Here I agree with the right-wing critics. So especially the New York Times and the Washington Post, which are called, without a trace of irony, the New York Times is called the establishment left in, say, major foreign policy journals. And that's correct, but what's not recognized is that the role of the liberal intellectual establishment is to set very sharp bounds on how far you can go. This far and no further.
Give me some examples of that.
Well, let's take, say, the Vietnam War. Probably the leading critic, and in fact one of the leading dissident intellectuals in the mainstream, is Anthony Lewis of the New York Times. who did finally come around to opposing the Vietnam War about 1969, about a year and a half after corporate America had more or less ordered Washington to call it off. And his picture from then on is that the war, as he put it, began with blundering efforts to do good. It ended up, by 1969, being a disaster and costing us too much.
So what would
that's the criticism.
What would the non-propaganda model have told Americans about the Vietnam War at the same time?
Same thing that the mainstream press was telling them about Afghanistan. The United States invaded first of all, in the 1950s, it set up a standard Latin American-style terror state, which had massacred tens of thousands of people, but was unable to control a local uprising, and everyone knows, at least every specialist knows that's what it was. And when Kennedy came in 1961, they had to make a decision because the government was collapsing under local attack. So the U.S. just invaded the country. In 1961, the U.S. Air Force started bombing South Vietnamese civilians, authorized napalm, crop destruction. Then in 1965, February 1965, the next major escalation took place against South Vietnam, not against North Vietnam. That was a sideshow. That's what an honest press would be saying, but you can't find a trace of it.
Now, if the press is a censoring organization, tell me how that works. You're not suggesting that proprietors phone one another up, or that many journalists get their copy spiked, as we say?
It's actually, Orwell, you may recall, has an essay called Literary Censorship in England, which was supposed to be the introduction to Animal Farm, except that it never appeared, in which he points out, look, I'm writing about a totalitarian society, but in free democratic England, it's not all that different. And then he says unpopular ideas can be silenced without any force. And then he gives a two-sentence response, which is not very profound, but captures it. He says two reasons. First, the press is owned by wealthy men who have every interest in not having certain things appear. But second, the whole educational system, from the beginning on through, just gets you to understand that there are certain things you just don't say. Well, spelling these things out, that's perfectly correct. I mean, it's the first sentence is what we expand on.
This is what I don't get, because it suggests that, I mean, I'm a journalist, people like me are self-censoring.
No, not self-censoring. There's a filtering system that starts in kindergarten, it goes all the way through. And it doesn't work 100%, but it's pretty effective. It selects for obedience and subordination. And especially, I think that's...
So stroppy people won't make it to positions of influence?
There'll be behavior problems, or if you read applications to a graduate school, you see that people will tell you he's not, doesn't get along too well with his colleagues. You know how to interpret those things.
I'm just interested in this because I was brought up, like a lot of people, probably post-Watergate film and so on, to believe that journalism was a crusading craft and that there were a lot of disputatious, stroppy, difficult people in journalism. And I have to say, I think I know some of them.
Well, I know some of the best and best-known investigative reporters.
Baja, blast my brains out. Thank you for the 10 gift subs.
States, I won't mention names, because whose attitude toward the media is much more cynical than mine.
All news orgs that people on the inside can apply internal pressure on their leadership. How can the leadership of the New York Times resist such pressure for so long? Is it appropriate to assume the majority of the New York Times is complicit with what the leadership does? This is something that I've tried to explain to a lot of people. As you know, I know a lot of journalists, okay, in a lot of these reputable outlets, some brilliant investigative reporters, okay? I talk to them. I talk to them in private. I talk to them publicly sometimes. As you guys know, I have them on the stream. And it's not, yeah, flex on us, sir. This is not a flex. This is me telling you what I know. There are literally journalists, photojournalists and whatnot, that are in this community that are routine chatters as well, okay? And as far as I understand, the attitude, especially towards like Israel, especially towards Israel-Palestine or American foreign policy, the interest of like doing real adversarial journalism in that regard is very much something that is happening with younger journalists in all of these institutions, in all these legacy publications. The problem is the editorial team that has been elevated to the position that they're in have been elevated because of their ideological their ideological goals that are completely in line with whatever the American State Department project is. And this is precisely the reason why While they want to do real journalism, editorial teams will just be like, all right, we're going to chop this article up until it's basically saying the exact opposite of what the actual truth is, or they just straight up don't publish. Pithily, what would you do if you lost your job because you rocked the boat? How would you eat? Brother, that is such a funny thing to ask someone like myself, because what I do is basically, what I have done in my career is basically sidestep this entire legacy publisher process and go direct to the fucking source in a way that is contentious to the interests of the American State Department. Like, that is hilarious to come to someone like myself and ask this question, because if it wasn't for my subscribers that I've been able to, in this community that I've been able to cultivate, okay, that I've been able to cultivate over the course of the past 6 years of consistently doing reporting and consistently doing commentary, and the subscription revenue model that I have cultivated for myself, I would not be able to do the things that I'm doing right now. I would not be able to have the mass profile that I have right now. But it's a reminder that, yes, I am an independent resource that tries to do his very best to ensure that I'm covering everything with integrity, and there is no me equivalent in the mainstream press. I wish there were, okay? I wish there were more people who were like-minded to myself, who are in legacy publishers, who are actively writing New York Times op-eds, for example. But you don't get to the point of a Brett Stevens by rocking the boat. You get to that point by not doing that, by consistently finding yourself in line with the interests of the American State Department if you're covering foreign policy, the interests of corporations of the wealthy when you're covering domestic issues. It's not an accident that the New York Times, and this is a great moment to talk about this. In terms of foreign policy, we already know, right? There is a major divergence. Okay, there's a major divergence there in terms of foreign policy of like what most people see, what most people can see, and what most people comprehend versus what is getting presented as truth in mainstream press. But a similar instance is occurring right now in real time as well with domestic policy. Healthcare. A lot of people are very upset, understandably, by the for-profit healthcare industry. And that is part of the reason why many people have a differing opinion on Luigi Mangione and his actions than the way that the mainstream press is presenting it. Why do you think the mainstream media and also right-wing independent outlets are running to defend Brian Thompson and for-profit healthcare industry actions without actively defending it, but like trying to move your attention elsewhere, trying to get you to feel bad about the anger and resentment that you feel towards for-profit healthcare across the board? They're doing that because they are still heavily invested in defending corporate interests, no matter what the sector is, no matter what the output is, no matter how much death that industry deals to the average American. So if you're wondering why there's this like divergence, if you're wondering why there's just so much of what you read in mainstream press is so different than the way you feel about things, this is the reason, because these guys are, at the end of the day, predisposed with defending the hierarchy, defending the pre-existing hierarchy, no matter how cruel. The only good thing is, thankfully, often the case that open source investigative reporting teams are some of the best in these cases, such as Evan Hill for WAPO or Christian Tribert for New York Times. Yes, they do. They have great reporters, like I said. Part of the reason why they have to have great reporters, and do great reporting every now and then is so that they can still maintain this veneer of objectivity. This is the reason why the New York Times wrote this article to begin with. Even if it's too little too late, even if it's months too late to make an assessment on Israel's cruelty here, they still have to cover this. What are you doing? This guy is just like writing random numbers in the chat. Okay, take a week off. The reason why they have to do this is so that they can still say, look, we do real coverage. We do unbiased news coverage every now and then.
In fact, they regard the media as a sham. And they know, and they consciously talk about how they try to play it like a violin. If they see a little opening, they'll try to squeeze something in that ordinarily wouldn't make it through. And it's perfectly true that I'm sure you're speaking for the majority of journalists who are trained, have it driven into their heads, that this is a crusading profession, adversarial, we stand up against power, a very self-serving view. On the other hand, in my opinion, I hate to make a value judgment, but the better journalists, and in fact the ones who are often regarded as the best journalists, have quite a different picture, and I think a very realistic one.
How can you know that I'm self-censoring? How can you know that journalists are...
I'm sure you believe everything you're saying. But what I'm saying is if you believe something different, you wouldn't be sitting where you're sitting.
That's it. I'm not saying you're self-censoring. I'm not saying that you don't believe everything you're saying. I'm simply saying you wouldn't be sitting here if you believed something entirely different. That's it. That's it. So in a way, it is not this overt, in a way, it is not this like overt pay for play scheme that a lot of people want it to be. Because once again, people want grand narratives. They want these grand narratives like cigar smoke filled back rooms where people are making, people are wheeling and dealing, right? That is not the case. Anyway, your experience at the DN seems a good example of that, in my opinion. You didn't self-censor, so you were removed. Those who would be willing to self-censor would not be removed. Yeah, I mean, look, I was a creator for Kamala, as you guys know. But you want to come in? What do you want to talk about today? Here, you can pull that chair over there. Yeah, chat is saying don't come in. Ew, gross. You want to do banana peels later? I said Bancourt. What? Stop apologizing.
Sorry, guys. What's up?
All right.
Wait,
Alex
just one
is here.
second. I'm
What's
going
up?
to see Nosferatu.
Oh, you are? When are you going to see it?
At 4 o'clock in 35mm, baby.
Okay, nice. All right, have fun. All right, so
wait, there's one other thing I wanted to say.
Maybe
though.
we won't do banana peels then.
Well, we could do it, but we're gonna do something cool on Saturday, I think. But I'm not telling them what we're doing.
Mhm.
We don't want to tell them. We shouldn't tell them. Well, they'll find out on Saturday. Wait. Oh, Joe Rogan. You're gonna go on Joe Rogan, right?
What?
We're working on that, right? You're gonna go on Joe Rogan.
Who's we working on it? Why do you come in here to just spread lies?
Guys, Hassan's gonna go on Joe Rogan.
Is that why you came in here? To
Yeah,
just, like,
just to
fucking
announce
lie?
it. To say Hassan Piker is gonna go on Joe Rogan.
I'm
It's
not
gonna be
going on
good.
Joe Rogan. I don't know where the fuck why he's saying this shit.
Guys, gonna happen.
I'm gonna cut your face
That's
off
all.
of
Anyway,
more
good to see you.
posts.
I'm going out with Dre and Spooky.
Yeah.
John Choi.
Yeah,
Yeah, those
he's
are my
hot.
real boys. He is hot. He's got great hair.
Yeah, he's really hot.
Okay, Chad. I love you guys.
He's also
See
a
you
voice
later.
actor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Nandre's really hot too. Nandre's Marvel Rivals account is called Real Hassan Piker.
Sick.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, go have fun with your real friends.
Those
while
are
I-
my real
while I
friends because
work.
they go to me. They go with me
Yeah.
to the movies.
Go
to
have
see
fun with
movies
your
I
real
like.
friends while I work. My hands look like this so you can go watch your fucking Nosferatu.
Thank you,
okay?
King. Can I
Yeah.
have money?
Yeah.
Can I have money to go out?
You're my sugar baby.
Thank you. That means so much. It does. Okay,
Anyway.
bye. Sorry, guys.
Wait, are you done? I wanted to look at. Do you want to cover the story with me?
Yeah, what
Elon
is it?
Musk. There are a lot of there's some racist infighting happening. The racists are fighting amongst one another.
Is this the post about I'm a good? Did you see that post?
The Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy are obviously they're obviously defending H-1B visas and a lot of the people, a lot of the racist right wingers, including Sam Hyde.
Oh, thank you for talking about this with me. Sam Hyde. That's
Yeah,
great.
well,
Thanks
you
so
know,
much.
we don't want or need to turn this country into India, he says.
Uh-huh.
And everyone is mad at Elon Musk and Vivek because they're Silicon Valley tech bros. And as Silicon Valley tech bros, of course, they love the H-1B visas.
Sure.
Because that's like most of their workforce. Now, many of them abused the H-1B visas, of course. Elon Musk very famously fired basically every single person with the exception of the H-1B visa workers when he purchased Twitter. Because if you are an immigrant working in the United States of America on a H-1B visa, well, obviously you don't, if you lose your job, you fucking get deported. So you are infinitely more likely to work the long hours necessary for you. They also see it as a discount, given that the currency exchange, if you're sending money back home, given the currency exchange rate, you are willing to take a pay cut because ultimately you're still sending a lot of money back home overall. It is a relatively abusive structure. Now, of course, the way to fix that is by normalizing payments through legislation to ensure that those who are on an H-1B visa still have to be paid in the same exact way that documented Americans on a W-9 or a 1099 employee should be getting paid. But of course, you can't do that without unions.
Is that the form the CIA gives you, the W-9?
Yeah.
Sick.
No, I'm a 1099 employee for the CIA.
Oh, that makes sense.
I'm a contractor.
I'm stupid. Yeah,
I'm a contractor, not a full-time employee for the CIA. Yeah.
Wait, did you see the post that was like, I'm one of the good ones? Did you pull that one
I
up?
did not see that.
Do you guys know what I'm talking about? I feel like I saw this morning.
What is this? You messed up, dude. You lied and told us you were base. Plus, I think you're personally shorting me on the X revenue. So let's get an engineer on that. A common complaint. I mean, all of these fucking losers, all of these like right-wing losers on Twitter are chirping at Elon Musk right now. Dinesh D'Souza. Oh, hell yeah.
This one.
There are good and bad Indians. I'm obviously one of the good ones. I suspect this Shahram guy is too. On the other hand, these two Indians pictured below were an intrinsic part of the censorship regime on social media. I wish we could deport them.
It's fucking crazy. I have nothing to say. I just wanted to know if you saw this.
Dude, Indian Twitter goes hard. I went down a rabbit hole the other day of a dude from Bangladesh talking about how like Albanians are monkeys and that those in Bangladesh like are actually infinite, like they are of a higher race than everyone else in the continent.
Whoa.
Like it's always so funny because like the way that white people perceive every brown person, like these guys will never understand it, I guess.
In a lot of ways. I mean, we kind of talked about this yesterday.
Like they don't care. They just for the average white racist guy in America, you think they make a distinction between like castes or whatever. No, they just see you as like a guy who's going to blow them up with an explosive vest. They don't know.
Have we ever talked about the legal construction of whiteness on here? I feel like maybe we did. Or maybe
I have, yeah.
Interesting.
I mean, I have talked about it quite a bit.
Oh, okay. Wow, so woke.
I mean, yeah.
God, let's all clap for Hassan Piker.
Elon is getting ratioed by his own fucking favorite Nazi account, which is so cool. Silicon Valley's biggest limitation, engineering talent shortage. The U.S. semiconductor industry alone needs over 160,000 engineers by 2032, driven by $250 billion in new investments. Demands for AI experts have skyrocketed, with Elon calling the talent war the craziest ever. Meanwhile, STEM programs struggle to produce enough graduates. This shortage threatens innovation from AI to semiconductors, slowing progress in global competitiveness. Expanding STEM education, streamlining high-skilled immigration, and reskilling workers are urgent solutions. Investing in talent is investing in the future. Elon, this was in response to Elon saying there's a permanent shortage of excellent engineering talent. It is the fundamental limiting factor in Silicon Valley. To which Elon responded, no, we need more, like double that number yesterday. The number of people who are super talented engineers and super motivated in the USA is far too low. Think of this like a pro sports team. If you want your team to win the championship, you need to recruit top talent wherever they may be. That enables the whole team to win. To which Elon's favorite neo-Nazi account, this account is like straight up a neo-Nazi, by the way. Elon Musk routinely talks to him, said, there are over 330 million people in America. Surely there must be enough among them to build your ultimate team. Why would you deny real Americans that opportunity by bringing foreigners together? Ratioing Elon Musk. And Elon responds with, your understanding of the situation is upside down and backwards. Of course, my companies and I would prefer to hire Americans, and we do, as that is much easier than going through the incredibly painful and slow work visa process. However, there is a dire shortage of extremely talented and motivated engineers in America. This is not about handing out opportunities that from some magical hat. You don't get it. This is blindingly obvious when looking at NBA teams, as the physical differences are so obvious to see. However, the mental differences between humans are far bigger than the physical differences. It's so funny that these guys who spend most of their time on here talking about how fucking low IQ like Indians are or whatever are legitimately fucking frustrated with Elon Musk being like, no, dude, you don't understand. These guys are much smarter than the average legacy American, which is crazy. And it's not, it has nothing to do with race and IQ, by the way, and everything to do with the fact that, yeah, they love H-1B visa workers because these guys, if they lose their fucking jobs, they will get deported. They don't just lose their health care, which is already a big ass fucking fear that many legacy Americans, white Americans have. But also on top of that, there's additional fears that like they will obviously get deported. Okay, that's it. And they like that because they see it as like an instant 20% pay cut. Okay, that they can use. And also they're more desperate. So he can exploit them further, which is evidenced by the fact that that's precisely what he did when he fired virtually everyone from Twitter and made the rest of the workforce that is desperate not to get deported work overtime to pick up the slack for the rest of the redundancies that he eliminated. Our understanding of the situation is upside down and backwards. It comes down to this. Do you want America to win or do you want America to lose? If you force the world's best talents to play for the other side, America will lose. End of story.
Thank you for standing up for America, Elon.
Yeah. It's so funny. Vivek wrote this like effort post as well, which I'm going to get to. Here's Felix's summarization. This is one of the funniest posts I've ever seen in my life. I've never seen a guy misjudge things quite like this. He spent years pretending to laugh at Babylon Bee headlines so we could post this.
Holy shit. So
Vivek
long.
Ramaswamy.
Please don't read that.
Vivek Ramaswamy, who, by the way, technically could be denaturalized and deported with the administration that he's a part of's policies because his parents were not American citizens at the time of his birth on U.S. soil. And one of Trump's policies is to literally denaturalize anchor babies. So it's ironic that Vivek Ramaswamy, who is an anchor baby himself, is a part of the administration that would work on literally deporting him.
God.
Anyway, here's what he had to say. The reason tech companies,
oh my God,
it's not that long.
Chat.
The reason top tech companies often hire foreign-born, first-generation engineers over native, in air quotes, Americans, isn't because of an innate American IQ deficit, a lazy and wrong explanation. A key part of it comes down to the C word, culture. Tough questions.
Yeah, that's the C word.
Tough questions demand tough answers. And if dude, it's so funny because what these guys are saying, okay, I need you to understand something. Right now, the question in everyone's mind is H-1B visas. That's why these business owners are defending H-1B visas because they utilize H-1B visa workers. What do you think is going to happen to every small business owner, jet ski dealership owner, restaurant owner, hospitality owner when undocumented migrants are rounded up and mass deported? They are going to chirp in the exact same way that Vivek is chirping right now. This is something that I've talked about already. Just so you understand. The reason why these guys are chirping is because they're tech bros and they heavily rely on H-1B visas, okay? H-1B visa workers. That is a cheaper alternative that is easier to exploit, okay? Just like the entirety of our agricultural and construction industry relies on undocumented workers, okay? Again, for the exact same principles, easier to exploit with no legal recourse. They have no way of defending themselves in their workplaces because they're illegally in the on U.S. soil. And what's really interesting about this process is that the only reason why you're hearing them chirp about this is because they hire H-1B visa workers. But inevitably, once mass deportations, if they were actually to be implemented, you would see virtually every single one of these small business Hitlerites turn on the Trump administration overnight. When the Bracero program was implemented in the United States of America, it was the Texas ranchers that were actively hunting down, not the undocumented migrants, actively hunting down federal law enforcement agency officers because they wanted to defend their workers, because they relied on their Mexican background workers. Okay? This is America's recent history, something that many people do not even think about. Things can turn overnight. Things can change over fucking night. Anyway, here's the truth.
I'm ready.
Our American culture has venerated mediocrity over excellence for way too long.
Agree.
At least since the 90s and likely longer. That doesn't start in college. It starts young.
Yup.
A culture that celebrates the prom queen over the math Olympiad champ.
Yup.
Or the jock over the valedictorian will not produce the best engineers.
Speaking of valedictorian, who we all love in this community, Luigi Mangione. That's our favorite. Wow.
We venerate valedictorians.
We gotta venerate valedictorians like Luigi Mangione.
Luigi Mangione. And he's Italian, so he's technically, he is a person of color.
for sure.
Yeah.
We know that now.
Yeah. A culture that venerates Corey from Boy Meets World, or Zack and Slater over Screech and Saved by the Bell, or Stefan over Steve Urkel in Family Matters
What the fuck?
will not 52,000 likes. Dude, Twitter is so stupid. I think like culturally, like the Twitter posting culture is so imaginably busted, so unimaginably broken.
Yeah, it's bad.
That like a person who crafted these sentences can get 50,000 likes. What the hell is going on? Who is this for?
Wait, why does he hate on Corey?
Bro said Urkel deserves more respect. That's why. It's the nerds. It's the nerds that you've overlooked for far too long. And that's why the nerds are rising up. Because guess what? In India, those nerds, they don't get overlooked.
This is such a personal grievance. It's fucking crazy. So he was watching Saved by the Bell, absolutely fuming at what was happening to Screech.
This is literally the black Twitter meme of the nerd who's like, I'm gonna become your landlord in the future, like the sexy girl or whatever.
Yeah.
With the nerd, someone's got to have that fucking meme ready to go. You know what I mean? Beat it, chick.
I think that this whole thing for him started, he was thinking already about Saved by the Bell and Urkel and fuming and just fucking furious. And he's like, this is just like that. This is just like that every fucking time.
Great academics are leaving for China. People like Xing-Tung Yao, who literally given the title Emperor of Math, left Harvard to teach in China because he felt slighted by the people in the field. Americans want to keep up in the field, but are racist towards people who want to contribute. Yeah, China is becoming the next brain drain, from what I understand. Yeah, don't worry, baby. He's just a nerd. Why do they always pick thugs years later? Hey, baby, remember me? Beat it, chick. Why can't I find a good man?
Oh, and she's pregnant also.
This is exactly, this is what he did. He posted this.
They don't like it. Oh, I see. Yeah, sure.
He's low-key spitting if you take the incel tone out of it. Culture that emphasizes academics definitely plays a huge role in this. Dude, it's not a culture that emphasizes academia. Okay, you don't have to literally have like a Confucianist approach historically for your 1,000-year empire in order to arrive at this. You just have to fund fucking schools, dude. But of course, Americans are so...
Oh, sorry.
What? Go ahead.
Sorry. And
No.
I mean, allow people to fucking live. Allow people a moment of rest in this world. You know how many fucking Mozarts do we lose because of the way the world is set up? These people are exhausted. They can't thrive in this fucking horrible capitalist hellscape. Are you fucking serious? They talk about, exceptionalism, all this other bullshit. It's because all the people that are here are fucking exhausted. They don't fucking get any rest. There's no fucking third spaces. There's nowhere to go. Everything is fucking criminalized. Fuck these people.
Yeah, and these are the people who are most responsible for this destruction too, because of short-term profit seeking. That where every corner there's an opportunity of investment. Every corner there's an opportunity for privatization. Every corner there is a way to make money. We have engineered society in a way to basically have perma brain drain, hopefully, to make up for what we lack. And then now this guy's like, oh, you don't understand. It's the culture. It's not. It's not the culture.
He's
it's not because you're not
about the fucking culture is fucking Saved by the Bell.
Yeah, he's like, the nerds didn't get enough pussy in high school. That's why, it's we have to keep hiring nerds from India. It's like, okay, dude, sure.
Oh my God, keep going. Go to the Whiplash.
Yeah, now you like it.
I do like it now. Yeah,
more
it's
movies
fun.
like
It's really
Whiplash, fewer reruns of Friends, more math tutoring, fewer sleepovers, more weekend science competitions, fewer Saturday morning cartoons, more books, less TV, more creating, less chilling, more extracurriculars, less hanging out at the mall. Oh my God. Oh my God. This is incredible. Most normal American parents look skeptically at those kinds of parents. More normal American kids view those kinds of kids with scorn. If you grow up aspiring to normalcy is what you will achieve. Now close your eyes and visualize which families you in the 90s or even now who raise their kids according to one model versus the other. Be brutally honest. Okay. I also need to mention something here. It's literally money. Okay. It's money. It's how much money in wages that have not kept up with productivity that you are willing to let your workers have. Okay. And I always use the example of teachers. No one becomes a teacher in this country because they want to fucking make the buku bucks. They become a teacher because they love the profession. And there is this same principle applies virtually across every sector with the exception of like finance and maybe a couple different ones where you still can make like a shit ton of money. Okay. Virtually every fucking sector in this country, you have to love your job and you have to genuinely be passionate about what you are doing. And this is included, but not limited to the sector of engineering at this point. 20 years in the past, 30 years in the past, engineering was seen as a golden bracelet profession, okay? It was seen as something that you did and you could make a lot of money over it. And I know from personal experiences that even on the engineering side, even if you are a fucking rocket scientist, okay? Even if you are literally a rocket scientist, the thing that keeps you going is not the money that you are making, which again is nowhere near what you would think it is, but it is absolutely the genuine, real passion you have for the craft, for the work that you're putting out there. Okay? We are literally in every sector, including historically high paid sectors, relying on people and their own personal passions to make this fucking, to make this economy continue, creating unimaginable profits for those at the tippy top who don't actually have any sort of output, who don't actually provide any sort of value whatsoever, aside from the upfront capital that they give to these companies in the form of purchasing stocks, in the form of becoming shareholders. Okay, they never touch the factory floor. They never are a part of the assembly. They do not care about any of the product itself. They only care about the profits that they can generate year over year. Okay,
but the good news is there's a secret bank account out there that you can access.
What is this? I don't know why you're showing me this right now. I wasn't even talking about anyone. All right, what were you going to say? Secret bank account.
If you're a sovereign citizen, you just need to say the right words and then you will have access to this bank account in your name.
Thank you.
All right, never mind. Sorry, fuck. Flop.
Oh yeah, Matt Damon, whose mother is a teacher, who is right here, famously a decade plus ago, gave an interview to Reason.tv. Reason TV is a libertarian outlet where they were talking about teachers' unions and how bad teachers' unions are. Here's Matt Damon basically echoing what I was telling you earlier.
There isn't job security, right? There's an incentive to work hard and be a better actor because you want to have a job. So why isn't it like that for teachers?
You think job insecurity is what makes me work hard?
Well, you have an incentive to work harder, but if there's job security...
Be an actor. It's not an incentive. That's the thing. See, you take this MBA-style thinking, right? It's the problem with ed policy right now. There's this intrinsically paternalistic view of problems that are much more complex than that. It's like saying a teacher is going to get lazy when they have tenure. A teacher wants to teach. I mean, why else would you take a shitty salary and really long hours and do that job unless you really love to do it?
Oh yeah.
Wait, what the
fuck?
fuck?
You like them apples?
No, hold on. This part is really good. The cameraman goes, aren't 10% bad though? He just like came up with that number out of his ass. 10% of teachers are bad. What the fuck does that even mean?
That are bad though? 10% of teachers are bad. I don't know. 10%.
Well, okay, but I mean, maybe you're a shitty cameraman. I don't know.
So good.
Yeah.
No, that's something I've seen recently that I hadn't seen before. Was now sort of the reactionary answer to teachers is they say that like all of them are pedophiles.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen, like, whenever people defend teachers now,
yeah,
right-wing, like conservatives,
it's insane.
They say that they're all pedophiles.
It's also partially like the babification of American society as a whole. Felix, I think, was talking about this recently. He's talked about this quite a bit, where it's like, where like everyone is a baby. Like every American is basically like a baby brain dipshit at this point. So a lot of our cultural resentments, or a lot of our resentments, revolve around like, you know, baby shit. It reminds me of that one post from this kid who was like, from this kid on Twitter that went viral, talking about like, of course someone is gonna like become a school shooter. Like, you put me in this position where you have this like psychotic fascist woman like telling me what to do, this cat lady, and it's like you're a child.
They were probably 14,
yeah,
or maybe they were 38. Like, I don't know, to be honest.
Yeah, no, Matt Damon has always been like this. It's interesting. Both Matt Damon and Ben Affleck are perfect embodiments of the aggressive social dominance that Boston area natives are able to command in an unfriendly television interview. From word one, he flips the power structure of the entire video and never flips back. Amazing stuff. Yeah.
Also, their company, I think they have like buy-in for their production company, which is pretty cool, right? Like,
I didn't know that. But they're pretty. They have very consistently been like, yeah, there's like a bunch of shitty things that they've done, as every Hollywood celebrity has, but like they have fairly consistently been on the right side. Bill Burr as well, obviously. There is something about Boston that some about massholes that just churns out these fucking like old school white working class background guys that just get it. I don't know what it is.
Actors Equity. That's their company.
Sam Cedar as well, obviously. Anyway,
right.
Are you trying to dip? You're trying to leave.
I'm not trying to
bad.
leave. I'm not trying to
leave. You
leave.
literally are like,
I don't like
you're
it.
angsty and you're fucking trying to run away.
I look like the dark version of you right now.
Yeah. We do have very similar drip. Okay. Now close your eyes and visualize which families you knew in the 90s, or even now, who raised their kids according to one model versus another. Be brutally honest. Normalcy doesn't cut it in a hyper-competitive global market for technical talent. And if we pretend like it does, we'll have our asses handed to us by China. This can be our Sputnik moment. We've awakened from slumber before, and we can do it again. Trump's election hopefully marks the beginning of a new golden era in America, but only if our culture fully wakes up. A culture that once again prioritizes achievement over normalcy, excellence over mediocrity, nerdiness over conformity, hard work over laziness. That's the work we have cut out for us, rather than wallowing in victimhood and just wishing or legislating alternative hiring practices into existence. I'm confident we can do it. Cernovich responds, the Woodstock generation managed to build out aerospace. The one before went to the moon. Well, that was also immigrants. The ones that got us to the moon were also immigrants that were maybe of German origin.
My
different kind of immigrant talent.
Favorite immigrants.
Yeah. Different kind of immigrant talent helped America get to the moon, I think. German immigration, you know? America was doing great. Underlying your post is that we were all living in squalor before being rescued by H-1Bs. Then why did everyone want to come here? That version of America, the one that used to embody unbridled exceptionalism, is exactly what we want to return to. There's a point about culture, not immigration policy.
Let's go, Cat Turd.
Cat Turd says, do I really need to start listing American inventors and what the world wouldn't have without us? That's the version of America I want to see us return to. Anna, also, what's also funny is like all of these people are descendant of immigrants to begin with. That's just America, including but not limited to, I guess, Anna Kachian. Vivek, this is sort of proving the point I made on your show. You're right. It is cultural, and that different cultures value things differently. And this isn't really doing much to dispel that notion that they're incompatible. Anyway, thanks for letting me talk for so long on TV and not cutting it.
Plug your shit, girl.
Yeah. Like, oh God, I just despise them so much. The Red Scare girls, like, they're so fucking gross. Another Indian American weighs in. There's nothing wrong with American workers or American culture. All you have to do is look at the border and see how many want what we have. We should be investing in prioritizing Americans, not foreign workers. Yeah, but this is drummed up a lot of controversy. Comrade Stump says, this is the most anti-American post I've ever read. He does not get the culture. He does not understand the country. Americans aren't hive mind bugs, and they want to import people who will play that role. Vivek does not understand America. First of all, this guy is wrong. Americans literally do want to import. They don't want to first of all, the way that this country is designed relies on a consistent flow of migration into it, okay? That is a big part of why America, alongside, its geopolitical positioning in the planet and not being immediately destroyed by World War II, a big part of why America has been this engine is because of the brain drain, is because of migration patterns, both at the tippy top of society, the individuals that work in the academic side of things that have come to America for prosperity, but also on the very bottom rungs of society that are hyper exploited as well, which is, the undocumented migrants that do all the jobs that Americans don't want to do. Part of the reason why Americans don't want to do those grueling tasks also is not necessarily because those tasks are very difficult to do in the agricultural sector, even though there is certainly a lot of difficulties on the body or in the construction field as well. It's because of pay. That's it. It's because Americans, American business owners, American capitalists don't want to fucking pay what you should be paid to do these fucking jobs. Okay? That's it. There is no point throughout American history where the American engine has not run on H-1B visa style workers and the brain drain that happens in academia, and also at the permanent underclass that we've created for undocumented migrants that work in all of our key sectors. Okay? So the idea that like this is not a fundamental part of America is really fucking stupid. And the actual fix to this process is by forcibly making wages higher. Okay? Forcibly extracting profits from the hands of profiteers, capital owners who are lifeless, faceless husks that have nothing to do with the productive output, that have no interest in generating value at all, simply just interested in turning profit and profit margins that consistently yield better dividends. Okay? But instead, forcibly making sure that those profits go back to the workers. Now, of course, when I start talking like this, a lot of people get scared. They're like, oh, I don't know about that. But that is it. That is the way that you normalize this process. And many racists will look to this and say, well, we can't do that when there's so many goddamn Mexicans in the country. They're not doing that for white people either, you dumb fuck. They're not. Even if you were to forcibly deport in the most cruel Hitlerian policy possible, 20 million undocumented migrants that are currently playing a very important role in American agricultural sectors, in hospitality, in virtually every fucking field that keeps this country running. It's not like the remaining white Americans and remaining documented Americans that racist people like to call legacy Americans are going to fill those roles for the same fucking pay, and there's not going to be an increase in pay to make sure that those roles are fulfilled anyway. It's not happening because the ultimate goals from capital owners are still the same, which is to consistently undermine the working class and ensure that they work in horrible fucking conditions so that they can make the most amount of profit possible at a time when automation and technological innovation ends up creating this reverse profit margin that almost always has a tendency to decline. Profits will always shrink no matter what due to technological innovation. And in that process, if your goal is to steadily improve profit margins, you are always going to go after the most malleable force, which is labor. Labor is the only force you can dominate and lower the price point of.
I like the second part of this tweet.
Vivek does not understand America. He talks about the jocks as if they're the stereotypical meatheads instead of usually being the most well-rounded people in high school. Vivek talks about chilling and sleepovers as if they're bad things for kids to partake in. Imagine having awful childhood because your parents wanted you to excel at using Excel. A miserable anti-American mindset. Totally foreign. Anyway, jocks are well-rounded. I'm a jock.
I just wish they could all get along. It's really sad to see this.
Yeah, ironically, capital would prefer labor camps to deportation, which would put a downward pressure on wages. Yeah. Anyway, the first reply, they really got everyone infighting over this on the right. My favorite H-1B related exchange I've seen today on Twitter. Indians are now threatening American right-wingers that they have nukes. Why aren't Indians making India great? Give them free markets and the rule of law so liberalism... Wait, India doesn't have... What? I thought the reason why we overlooked BJP's fascism was because they were so free market oriented and have the rule of law and liberalism. And you'll see them thrive just like South Koreans thrive, but not North Koreans. It's amazing. Oh, you sent the wrong link.
Tread
Why aren't Indians making India great? They have nukes. You don't. Tread carefully, my English bro. Really? You think that will set them off, but not Iran and Russia? Ignorant fool. I have it on good authority that the Indian Prime Minister keeps close tabs on lotus eaters. What is happening? Dude, the universal principle here is that all of the hogs, there is hog universality, as you guys know. I've talked about this quite a bit. This is why I love doing Hogwatch of different origins as well. I love doing Hogwatch in Israel. I love doing Hogwatch in India as well. Just like I love doing Hogwatch in America. And the consistent through line in Hogwatch is always that they are so unimaginably racist. It's extra funny when you are someone of Indian background and you're a racist in an otherwise universal white supremacist society, because the rest of the races in the West don't look at you and think that you are of a higher caste or of an upper class. They just see you as the same as the way you see people of a lower caste.
It's the most American thing you can do, though. Like,
Yeah.
in a lot of ways, they are the ultimate Americans. They have totally become part of American culture.
Yeah. You are not on the team, my bro. I think this is an international hog right here in our chat. Entire prison populations from several countries walked across your border to about 30,000 needs to go back. Vivek is a saint. U.S. Senate hearings you all should pay attention to through Forbes magazine showing the hard truths. Lol. What? Please do Hogwatch in Germany. I did it recently, as a matter of fact, when the Magdeburg terrorist turned out to be a hog.
Oh, did you cover all that stuff?
Yeah, I did.
Did you see all the stuff with his Twitter?
Yeah. And then
fucking
Elon literally
crazy.
fucking went back and like combed through his Twitter to be like to massage out some of the kinks. Tim Pool is duking it out with a Twitter guy. If your race is so great, why am I out competing you on every axis that actually matters? Seems like you are the one who is dysgenic. Thankfully, evolution will take care of you in due time. Good luck to you and your children if you are capable of having any.
Jesus Christ.
Lol, holy shit, is this really an ex-employee? You, me, Code Forces. Let's find out who can reverse a binary tree faster, Beanie Boy. Amazing. This has created this kind of right-wing infighting is so amazing to me. It's great. I love signal boosting the absolute worst people. No, this is awesome. Let them fight. Let them fucking fight.
What, do you guys believe this now that you saw it? Did you read that and become incredibly racist?
Yeah. What this guy wants is white guy affirmative action. Parag was a gold medalist in the International Physics Olympiad, which is insane. And Josiah graduated from a college with 100% admittance rate. But Josiah thinks he deserves a better job than Parag because he's white. These third worlders with fake credentials are harder workers and smarter than you and your neighbors. You need to let them rule over you, says Josiah Lippincott. Parag Agrawal holds a PhD in computer science from Stanford University and is a gold medalist in the International Physics Olympiad. Josiah Lippincott has a simple Bachelor of Arts in Politics from Hillsdale College. Dude, fascism is a death cult. Okay? And that's why I think given how supercharged our news consumption cycle has become, especially with the invention of social media, you're now seeing that death cult spiral into this ever-shrinking process much faster than you normally would experience it. Like in the 1930s, the death cult would take some time to possibly get to the Ubermensch concept, right? Like they never fully flushed it out even. Nowadays, it happens in real time within the process of, within a matter of like weekends, okay? It's fucking awesome. What would previously take a decade to arrive at this inevitable conclusion, this inevitable contradiction, and you know, the infighting would kick in, you are seeing it, you're seeing it happen in real time, online, in broad daylight, in an accelerated fashion. I've never seen a better example of the face-eating leopard party meme being brought to life than what we've seen from Trump-supporting tech execs the past few days. Yup. Muscon is employee that beefed with Tim Pool. He's a troll, but went a little over the top in the past few days. One of your engineers is a racist. Yeah, dude. Racist people crying about racism because it's an Indian dude talking about white people. Yes. Yes. Oh,
that's true racism.
It's so good. It's so fucking good, dude. Oh, I'm mainlining it, dude. Oh, that's so awesome. That's so fucking sick. He's Algerian. Okay, even better. Oh, even better. That's great. My Muslim brothers. Remember, his background doesn't matter. What matters is that he is, one, of migrant background, and two, he's being an anti-white racist. Do you understand? I'm upset. I like UNX, but not him. He should work instead of mocking whites.
Funny, look at this after dinner. Funny how it's okay when it's against one group of people.
Yeah, no, this is like the dark humor, the dark humor enjoyers when white people are in the crosshairs. The dark humor enjoyers whenever you make fun of a CEO.
Guys, this is really not funny. Can we get serious?
Can we stop, please? Can we stop making fun of white people? What the fuck's going on? Loomer is trolling for attention. Ignore it. Telling the truth isn't trolling. Read the room, Elon Musk. You bought your way into MAGA 5 minutes ago after Trump almost had his head blown off in Butler. Remember when you voted for Biden and propped up Governor Ron DeSantis and you said Trump was too old? We all know you only donated your money so you could influence immigration policy and protect your buddy Xi Jinping. Yeah. Elon, Laura Loomer is jealous that Elon paid his way into Trump's orbit, whereas Laura Loomer had to do something much more difficult. Suck her way to the top. God, that was so sick when when Laura
What
Loomer
did you
was,
say?
Oh, I said Laura Loomer had to suck her way to the
Oh
Trump's
my
orbit.
God.
Yeah, I am a Laura Loomer fuck Donald Trump truther. It's one of my conspiracy theories that I 100% believe. Laura Loomer more like Laura Coomer. By the way, she's not wrong. Elon Musk has Tesla factories in Shanghai, and Elon Musk absolutely tanked the clean resolution partially because it would turn the already existing Treasury Department protocols of offering additional scrutiny to those who actually invest in China into legislation. This was a bipartisan deal that was crafted within and was placed in the clean resolution bill, which Elon Musk did not want in the clean resolution bill. They took it out. Yeah, he did not like that. He did not like that he would be under additional scrutiny for investing in China. By the way, that guy's Algerian atheist who says some vile Islamophobic stuff, ex-Muslim, Saudi AFD guy style. Everyone in the story is awful. No, I know. It's fantastic.
He seemed like a good guy.
Yeah, what is this? Eric Weinstein, I love this. Do you want to fill an entire stadium debating this with me? I'm so game for America.
Hell
you
yeah.
love this place? So do I. We don't know each other. I'm a US-born STEM PhD with some background in this issue in the sciences. Dance with me. Do you think 40,000 people would see you and Vivek Ramaswamy debate H-1B visas?
For a visa, they would.
This is amazing. All of the fucking grossest, sweatiest, weirdest right-wing loser nerds are fighting each other, and it's awesome. It is amazing that this controversy has erupted like an atomic bomb and has made every single races of different background mad at one another. America wouldn't exist if it wasn't for Indian excellence, says Kache, engineer at X. No, my dad's dad built this country and it was rich. No. Oh, it's so good. Atomic bombs don't erupt, himbo. Shut up, bitch. Shut up, nerd. Whatever kind of bomb. For Lolo.
What is it?
No, I'm not clicking on that. So they want to debate who is and isn't American more than they want to debate real issues like the Constitution. Debate real issues like the Constitution. This was only a matter of time. Whenever one party gets full control, they eat themselves alive. No, it's fucking awesome. This is amazing. Let them fight. Let them fight. I love this. Yeah. At the risk of Elon Musk is trying to put this together, by the way, he's trying to throw some water on this. And he's like, at the risk of stating the obvious, there are many attention-seeking trolls on all social media platforms trying to yank your chain. They win if you respond.
Guys, don't give in to the trolls.
Yeah. Everyone is a fucking liberal at the end of the day, baby. Everyone is a liberal at the end of the day. Okay? Never forget. Oh my God. Kaya is so loud with her snores.
I'm going to shoot this one out. Shoot out this Rogan tweet.
What? What is the Rogan tweet?
Should I post this?
What is the post?
I don't want to show it to you.
Wait, are you just lying about me being on Joe Rogan or something? I don't understand.
Post it right now.
What did you just post? Hello, Joe Rogan. I think you should work out with my friend Hassan the Hun and do a podcast episode together. I don't like your politics, but I do think it would be good for you two to chat. Watch out.
I think you should retweet it. I dare you.
Oh! There you go. Vivek intervenes in the MAGA civil war by saying the reason tech companies need to bring H-1B visa employees over is because Americans failed to venerate Steve Urkel. Does Vivek think this will convince hardline anti-immigration people that H-1B visas are necessary to fill engineering roles? Or is this just a way of signaling the A16Z set that he's on side? What? Interesting. I predicted two sides will come to an amenable agreement soon based on the quality of these ideas. All the paleo right MAGA tradespeople should seriously just pivot to building data centers and GPU farms and power plants that power them. They have the skills. This is how they can own a slice of the AI pie in the near term. Says based Bev Jezos. All the top minds are on this. They're on the problem. They're gonna fix it. What is this? People seem to be missing the fact that you're asserting that it's elite engineering talent that we have a shortage of in America, like 0.1 to 0.01%. And if we don't fill the shortage with immigrants in the short term, we will lose. Maybe this is a helpful clarification. I'm referring to bringing in via legal immigration the top 0.1% of engineering talent as being essential for America to keep winning. This is like bringing in the Jokic's or the Wembys of the world. He just keeps doing like NBA. I don't know what, does he start recently watching the NBA or something?
I don't know. I thought he was really into Diablo.
Yeah.
Isn't that his whole thing?
Or Poe now, Path of Exile. Yeah. A116Z is Anderson Horowitz's VC firm. By the way, the H-1B discourse completely ignores how all these companies do permanent layoffs now to suppress wages. Yeah.
And also how they're using AI to mass lay off people as well, even at the very successful tech companies.
Yeah. This is like bringing the Jokic's of the Wembys of the world to help your whole team, which is mostly Americans, win the NBA. Win the NBA. To win the NBA.
Hell yeah.
Thinking of America as a
He's
pro
a real
sports
fan.
Thinking
He
of
loves the
America.
game.
Yeah. He's doing the Lori Lightfoot, the wearing the NFL gear during the Super Bowl. It's like, you know, I appreciate sports on all sides. Okay. I will not be taking a side on this sport endeavor. Yeah. Anyway. Thinking of America as a pro sports team that has been winning for a long time and wants to keep winning is the right mental construct. If you're serious about increasing the quantity and quality of educated, competent, exceptional American workers, you don't need to search the world for smart migrants. You just need to end affirmative action, stop mandatory DEI, and ban forced equity. Problem solved. He got it. That's it. That's the real. That was what was keeping Americans back. Okay. These guys are so invested in alternative narratives other than like the major problems that they're facing that they literally cannot comprehend it. And it's really funny because Donald Trump has talked about abolishing the Department of Education, right? And in the same conversation, when he talks about abolishing the Department of Education, he'll be like, Norway and China, they have so much better education than we do. And it's like, yeah, dumbass. That's because they have a Department of Education that they actually is competent. They have a hyper focus on public education. It's not this like piecemeal private interest that has absolutely gutted what remains of this already underfunded sector. That's literally it. It's not about venerating the fucking nerds or whatever either, okay? What the fuck? On the one hand, they're like gutting education. On the other hand, they're like, why don't we have any talent? Like, I don't understand.
I'm excited for you to go on Joe Rogan.
Yeah, this is definitely going to happen.
Sick, brother.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going. I'm going to hang out with my real friends.
Okay, well, have fun, dude. Have fun, dude.
You're always invited. You never want to come.
Well, I'm streaming.
I mean, not right now, but
I'm streaming the fucking the chaos happening in the MAGA world right now, and you're over here fucking
Nosferatu. I gotta know. I'm Nosferatu maxing.
Yeah, go Nosferatu max.
You don't know anything about fucking Dracula or vampires. You'd probably just let a vampire right into your house, would be my assumption.
Wait, first of all, you're telling a Turkish man, an Ottoman son, he doesn't know anything about Dracula. Do you know Vlad Dracul Tepes, the original real human being that the story of Dracula was tailored around? Yeah. I know very well. I know very well. I have epigenetic memories unlocking in me right now. The moment that you brought up, the moment that you brought up
want to see
the Impaler. How dare you? How dare you come in here and talk about the Impaler in my presence? I'm telling my dad.
Your dad likes me. He remembers my name.
Yeah. Now that he's oh well, I'm proud of you. Now that he heard you glaze Dracula, he will have a different opinion.
I wasn't glazing Dracula.
You were.
I was just talking about vampires.
The Impaler.
All right, fuck you. I'm out of here. Bye. Have a great day. Have a nice stream. See you guys later.
Executed like a dog for the crimes against the Ottomans.
Going to see Nosferatu.
Mehmet the Conqueror will rise up once again. 1453, best year of my life.
Goodbye.
Vlad Dracul Tepes. Don't go watch Nosferatu. Hassan, that's settling for normalcy. Yeah, I know. This nerd is going to watch Nosferatu. Meanwhile, what am I doing? Getting 0 bitches, okay? You already know, baby. Getting 0 bitches, working day in, day out, because I, just like Vivek Ramaswamy, have what it takes to make America great as the son of immigrants. The best year of your life that happened before your life? Yeah, it doesn't matter. Still the best year. Istanbul, not Constantinople, baby. Matt Gaetz has come out against Elon Musk as well. Uh-oh. We welcomed the tech bros when they came running our way to avoid the 3rd grade teacher picking their kid's gender and the obvious Biden-Harris economic decline. We did not ask them to engineer an immigration policy. After Gavin Mario Wax says, the tech bros ally with MAGA to defeat a Democrat party full of hubris and arrogance. Now those same tech bros are engaging in the same hubris and arrogance with their flippant, condescending, and elitist responses to legitimate criticisms of the H1B1 program, politically inept. H1Z1. I feel like Gates has some other things to worry about right now instead of shitting on Musk, although I love to see them infighting. Yeah, no, it's great. Let them fight. Let them fight. Monkey's paw. A lot of people are paying attention to Cenk right now. He's having a moment. I have to admit, I underestimated the tribalism on our side. I once thought that people realized that I'm defending left-wing positions in front of right-wing crowds. They would understand that that's not selling out. That's the opposite. But no, most seem to think that just the mere act of talking to the other side is an unbearable heresy. We should never talk because that's appeasement, etc. Winning the popular vote doesn't give them legitimacy, but one left-winger talking to them does. The fact that people can't see that how crazy that sounds. No, man. I don't know why Cenk refuses to comprehend that this is not about like talking to the right. People do that all the fucking time. I do it too. The issue is who you're talking to on the right and how you're talking to people on the right. That's it. If you go on Turning Point USA's own fucking broadcast, talk about like how you have so many similarities with the likes of Charlie Kirk, or you have the same interest in mind that you also want to make America great, is you know, and with the underlying operative principle that like the MAGA right is a real movement and it's not just simply adding some marketing policies onto their unrestricted pro-capitalist agenda, then yeah, you're all of a sudden offering legitimacy to some of these right-wing positions that deserve no legitimacy whatsoever. I'm good with it. I'm always going to choose the most rational way to get the policies we want, whether people get furious about it or not. No, I don't think the right wing is going to magically give us everything we want. I also don't think yelling at them at the top of our lungs is going to accomplish that either. I know because I've tried that too. I'm positive we can't get money out of politics unless both sides agree to work together. I'm positive. Yeah, both sides are working together on that front, just in the opposite direction. Let's be real, which is kind of how Cenk arrived at this conclusion anyway. I'm positive that that's the only way to get back our democracy. I'm positive that unifying on things we agree on is the most rational strategy. So I'm good with the attacks and the accusations because that's the only way out of this endless civil war. The only way to get a better solution is by going through this minefield first, because we have to somehow start the conversation, and that alone triggers people to no end. At some point, we have to dare to venture out of our own bubbles and see if we've been tricked into fighting each other instead of the people in power. We'd be much better off, but you can't set aside your differences with Charlie Kirk to get a beer with him. 2 beers and a proletariat would be in control of their workplace. What? You don't see the vision, nephew? Yeah. That's it. I don't think that there is anything wrong with talking to right-wingers, especially normal right-wingers, your coworkers and the like, regardless of how fucking right-wing and stupid they might be. It's important to recognize that they are deluded and are a victim to social conditioning. It's impossible to fucking avoid propaganda of that sort. It is possible, however, to avoid the top of the hour ad break because I'm not running them, but you can still subscribe for $6 or for free with a Twitch Prime at the top of the hour or at any other point in the podcast as well. This way, unlike Ergo Demise, you can also send me links if you would want to, because that's something that you need to do. You need to be able to subscribe if you want to send me links. Okay. Repeated the top of the hour bot. I know it's been a long time since I've done one of those. Wanted to fucking hit you with one of them regardless. You can also get gifted a sub if you're lucky as well. There you go. I gave you a top of the hour ad break debate. It's been a long time. You can subscribe for free with a Twitch Prime as well. Akabidi, thank you for the 20 gifted subs. Valorant, thank you for the 8 gifted subs. Is beer with Chuck Kirk the thing that Cenk says a reference to your story about not having beers after debating him? What, Indian ad break, or you don't like Indians? I don't make the rules. No, I'm not doing that. Anyway, Politico picked this up. What? No. I mean, you can wear it. Yeah, of course. It's my favorite hat. Yeah. Yeah, it's if you donate to Democracy Now, you can get one. Anyway, Musk influence sparks fresh talk in Congress on high-skilled immigrants. A Christmas Day social media brawl between President-elect Donald Trump's backers in Silicon Valley and the MAGA base highlighted the looming battle facing the incoming White House Congress over high-skilled immigration. Early conversations are already taking place on Capitol Hill, where Republican lawmakers are openly mulling new plans to boost numbers of high-tech immigrants as Elon Musk and other tech billionaires, including many who have named skilled immigration a priority, flex their expanding influence on Trump and the GOP. But this week's online blow-up suggests immigration hardliners won't surrender easily to Trump's new tech friends. Yeah, it's great. It's amazing. It's great. These guys have arrived at one of the first great limiters. You haven't even covered the Indian side yet. What is this? Western inbreds. This is what the H-1B visa Indian tech workers think of Americans. What? Nothing on Twitter feels better than the meltdown of Western inbreds over the Indian invasion. Oh my God, they're so mad. They're so mad about the anti-white racism. Oh, that's so awesome. This is literally like months and months of unrestricted, years of unrestricted anti-Indian sentiment manifesting in every orifice online, okay? Straight up out of control. Like the anti-Indian sentiment has gotten completely out of control on Twitter, especially. Like, I'm learning new racism that I didn't even know existed, okay? And you never covered the anti-Indian racism on Twitter, Insta, TikTok? Yes, I did. What the fuck are you talking about? I'm literally repeating some of the things that I covered on this matter, as a matter of fact. I did. And it's incredible to me that after so much of this like anti-Indian sentiment that is left unchecked on social media and every fucking platform, okay? First of all, how dare you? Yeah, I am the racism sommelier. So if you think that I haven't covered a different kind of racism, you're wrong, okay? It's normalized. This is from Rohan Davis of the anti-Indian hatred in the Western world. This is from, I think this is Indian Hassan certified as well. Anti-Indian racism is so big in the Canadian internet. Like if you go to Canadian Instagram post and includes any Indian person, it gets literally Hitlerian comments. Yeah. Oh, this was also very funny. Grimes also suddenly concocting anti-Indian energy out of nowhere is embarrassing, y'all. Also, they were clear they planned to do this. My stepdad's Indian. I have a fire childhood and have Indian household. Indian culture jives very well with Western culture. I love this take because there is this like, I love this take because there's this attitude. Okay, there's this attitude where like she's saying some cultures don't jive well with Western culture, but Indian culture does jive well with Western culture. It's like, what culture doesn't jive well with Western culture? What the fuck is Western culture? Friend of the show, Grimes, once again, popping off. It's so funny. Would India be okay with being flooded with American culture so much that it changed their culture significantly? Would they care that the two jive well together? We already did this to them. It has caused a ton of problems for them. Wait, what? This is a self-own. When they start singing instead of you, you might change your mind. Do you think you would be successful in Bollywood? Wait, what? She didn't say that, Hassan. You're doing the waffles meme. No, this is a very important aspect of this. This is not a waffles meme, dummy. This is at the heart of the problem. This understands the notion that, like, there are cultures that don't jive well with Western culture. Do you not understand that? This is not waffles to pancakes. No. The fundamental principle that she is operating off of is that there are certain cultures that don't jive well with Western culture. Indian culture is not one of them. That is the implication in this statement. Trapped at the heart of the statement is that, like, you don't understand. Indians are the model minority, unlike some of these other groups that don't jive well. Finding out you're not a part of the in-group. Many anti-DEI legal immigrants who celebrated Trump are now realizing that America First is fundamentally incompatible with their dreams of a global meritocracy, and that Trump's core base is comprised of people who find their presence in America to be rather undesirable. Approver Govind, us legal immigrants want safe cities, meritocracy, a fair exchange for our children to succeed without being boxed into a DEI cult. Today, competence is one. Founders can go back to building without worrying about a government that kneecaps success. So thank you and good night. America is my chosen home. I didn't get here accidentally. I wasn't born here. I came here for its values. I'm sacrificing my time I'd have otherwise spent with my Indian relatives so I can be true to my values. I'm glad to see smart people I respect get involved in U.S. politics. This election is especially hard because I had to root against a woman who had a very close connection to my roots. The great thing about the U.S. is unapologetic meritocracy. Today, the best candidate we had won. The racists are slowly coming out of the woodwork on TPOT. Interesting to see. Everyone loves meritocracy until they discover that they're not the top dog. Then suddenly it is, fuck you, brownie. Cindy says, seriously, I'm just baffled at their credulity. America First is fundamentally a protectionist, populist, myopic movement, whether it comes to global trade or foreign policy or immigration. It's incompatible with free markets, free trade, and free movement of labor. Yeah. Oh, this is what the post I was referring to, by the way. This is how it feels to be a Bangladeshi in subcontinent. I looked at this guy's profile. He shits on Albanians too. I don't think these people understand. Yeah, the goal here is always this. Okay? Look at this post. Whites are 6% of the world. Do not fund your replacement. Don't shop brown. Be racist or go extinct. The goal here is not to, improve American output. Like the goal here by racists is always been to not be around brown people, no matter what the cost is. Okay, that's it. Is in front of a Tim Horton because it's usually operated by brown people in Canada. It's crazy. And what these guys don't understand is that, like, it's magical thinking. It's magical thinking. The notion that, like, I've talked about this with, like, incels, right? A lot of incels find themselves in the throes of, like, right-wing MAGA-style white nativist immigration attitudes because of their personal insecurities. They think that if there is this, like, white supremacist society, then they'll be able to get pussy, okay? Not realizing that there are far more prescient, far more important reasons as to why they're not getting laid, okay? Oftentimes it's deeply personal problems. You know, something as simple as sanitation. Now, the issue is, these guys think that magically this problem will be solved once America is white. It's not. It's just like you're not going to get a better job that pays well once you deport the H-1B visa holders, okay? That's not going to work. It doesn't work that way. It never worked that way. It's not going to fucking work. Very interesting stuff overall, though, from people who think like this will actually solve their problems. Yeah. Anyway, Milton Friedman admitting the quiet part out loud. Illegal immigration is beneficial to the U.S.
At the obvious, immediate, practical case of illegal.
Yeah, I mean, he also was an advocate as long as they are not allowed to take advantage of the social services. Like, it's pretty gross stuff.
Mexican immigration. Now, that Mexican immigration over the border is a good thing. It's a good thing for the illegal immigrants. It's a good thing for the United States. It's a good thing for the citizens of the country. But it's only good so long as it's illegal. That's an interesting paradox to think about. Make it legal, and it's no good. Why? Because as long as it's illegal, the people who come in do not qualify for welfare. They don't qualify for Social Security. They don't qualify for all the other myriads of benefits that we pour out from our left pocket into our right pocket. And so as long as they don't qualify, they migrate to jobs. They take jobs that most residents of this country are unwilling to take. They provide employers with workers of a kind they cannot get. They're hard workers, they're good workers, and they are clearly better off.
Yep. I mean, it's not even the quiet part out loud. This is when the right used to be very open about this sort of thing. At a time when what do you call it? Bernie Sanders used to say open borders are a right-wing Koch brothers back policy, because it technically was. The issue in Canada is a bit different. Youth unemployment is at record highs due to corporations using temporary foreign workers to ensure waste suppression. Indians in Canada are facing the backlash because most are Indian. Blame needs to be on the corporations looking for cheap labor rather than the people looking for a better life. Unwilling to take has been expressly modeled to run off of exploited labor. Yes. No, American manufacturing and American capitalism is entirely funded off the backs of hyper-exploited migrant labor, whether documented or undocumented. That's it. It's endless profit seeking. And the way to stop that is not by stopping undocumented migration or H-1B visas. It's to create legal safeguards to ensure that everyone is paid, like everyone's pay rates are adjusted, and that you can't take advantage of people's currency exchange rate, or you can't take advantage of people's like legal status. The problem is that is left-wing economic policy that everybody fucking freaks out about. So that's the reason why we'll never have it, and that's the reason why we'll have this instead. Shiv Arur, journalist from India Today, saying, not all Americans, Loomer, just Western inbreds like you.
Damn, this guy's good.